All right. Hello, YouTube. Welcome to the year-end bash, which is episode, I almost said 75 because the other show is 75. This is 170. Very much different.
We traveled back in time. We're only on episode 75.
Oh, man. Yeah, Roundtable 170, which is the year-end bash for 2025. It is a little bit different than normal. I guess we could say it now. We don't even need to say it for on the podcast side because we haven't started that yet because it doesn't matter for the podcast people because they're in the future. Potentially.
Future.
Yeah, and so if on the YouTube side, check in the YouTube comments. There is a link to a Discord server. So you'll have to download Discord, make sure that all of your audio stuff is set up properly if you want to call into the show, because Skype is dead. Skype officially died. I mean, honestly, we probably should have got rid of Skype years ago, but we've been using it as kind of a habitual thing pretty much since the beginning of the year-end bash. So, but yeah, that the link for all that stuff is in the chat, or in the not in the chat, but in the description. The description. And then of course, like and all that kind of fun stuff. And of course, we'll have to remind people as we go here, kind of like a normal call-in show type thing.
Yeah.
But let's go ahead and hit the intro and get started. If I can find my fucking pedal. There we go.
The Dark Tower by Stephen King. The man in black fled across the desert, and the gunslinger followed. Go then. There are other worlds than these. Death, but not for you, gunslinger. It's time we had our own Palaver, I think, and it's going to take a while.
And yet, dauntless, the slug horn to my lips I set, and blew. Child Roland to the Dark Tower came.
We are content, one from many. Let the Palaver begin.
All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Dark Tower Palaver, Roundtable 170, which is the year-end bash. So this is the end of 2025. I always find it interesting to think about it from the perspective of a podcast, because there might be people in the future that are just binging through episodes and God knows where they're at. And, they're just like, oh, so this is the episode that ended 2025.
Yeah.
If only they knew the world ended the next day.
Wait, what?
No, it's always,
my vacation just started, Ted. Don't say that.
it's always funny because I do the same thing. I'll binge through stuff, and there's just certain times if there's like specific things in like history or whatever that you just know are coming, and you're just watching like or listening to a show or something, and you're just like, wait for it.
Oh,
like
there it is.
Every time I rewatch The Sopranos, like The Sopranos was airing during 9/11, so 1999 was the first season. So for the first two seasons, everything was normal, status quo. But and in fact, during the intro, you see a shot of the World Trade Center and stuff. So I'm always like waiting for the exact episode in season 3
And
when
you're like, there it is.
The intro changes. So all that's an aside, of course. But my name is Tad.
I'm Peter.
And we're here again, for the year-end bash. I've already said it on the YouTube side, but for all the folks, as you join us, the Discord link, because Skype is dead. The Discord link is in the YouTube description. If you're with us live and you want to call in, that is the way to do it. Let's go ahead and dive on into the introductions. First of all, we want to warn you about spoilers. This is a book club, or roundtable, not a book club. We did 2 book clubs in a row. Give me a break here. It's a roundtable, so therefore, we've had times where we've spoiled very big plot points before the intro's even finished.
We've literally spoiled the ending before we finished the intro.
And that is totally fair and on the table for a round table. So if you've not finished the 7 primary books of the Dark Tower series and you are worried about being spoiled, you may want to stick to our book club episodes. With those, we stay where we're at or before. We don't jump ahead. There is a very, very, very minimal spoiler section at the end of those episodes, but you're given ample warning before we actually go into that. So there isn't any necessarily danger of you stumbling onto a spoiler in those episodes unless you're further behind than we are, which I don't see how.
Don't do that.
Yeah, unless you started the books like a month ago.
Yeah.
Because most people, I think, read the series in a couple months or so. But It's taken us 10 years to get where we are. And then, of course, if you want to find us, you can find us on Apple Podcasts, stream us on Spotify, Amazon Music, Audible, or any podcasting service of your choice. If you like the traditional podcast method, you can find us there. If you could subscribe, rate, and review us on any of those, we'd appreciate that. And where it's obviously something you could do. And then on the YouTube side, if you want to join us live, you can do that over here at youtube.com/darktowerpalaver. Of course, like, subscribe, and ring the bell for notifications. Otherwise, North Central Positronics will punish us.
Punish you.
No, it'll be you.
Why me?
It's like a Peacemaker where, Vigilante gets tortured because Peacemaker won't give up the information.
Yeah.
I mean, it wouldn't be my fault either. It would be everyone's fault for not liking and subscribing and
That's true.
ringing the bell. So stop Peter from getting lightning teeth or viciously attacked by a billy bumbler on a bridge.
Stop it.
Although you're not a child, so maybe it's what, like all those what do you call those, like scrounge animals that only attack like the old and the weak
Coyotes
and like the children, like when that yeah. So that seems like what billy bumblers might be, right?
No. You stop it.
Oh, and then if you want to find the show notes, you can do that at darktowerpalaver.com. That is the hub for all things Dark Tower Palaver. You'll find links for everything that has to do with our show, all of our show notes. I don't know if we'll really have any show notes for this episode. There's a couple things that we're going to be talking about, but largely it's going to be kind of a look back on 2025 and a look ahead to 2026. There's a couple news articles, but I didn't really do them in a traditional sense, so I'm not sure if there'll be show notes for this episode. But I do know, for example, there is a March Insanity announcement happening in this episode. The Dark Tower Palaver website, darktowerpalaver.com/March Insanity, will bring you right to the center of all the March Insanity stuff. There's nothing posted there yet, but there will be by the end of the weekend. I guess, because normally it's Saturday. So I guess in theory I can get the stuff posted tomorrow and it'll actually be out on Saturday and everything will be on the website. But all that stuff will be over there. Then if you want to support the show, you can do that at patreon.com/darktowerpalaver. With that, at every level, you get access to our Discord server where you can chat with us all the time. The Discord server for the call-in is different from all that. But you also get access to our monthly hangouts. That's for everyone at every level. And then if you are at the highest level, you get a co-host a show with us. Then if you want to contact us, send us a number of ways to reach out. You can send those, and Peter can let you know what those are.
The best way to reach us is through email at show@darktowerpalaver.com. And then we also have our threads and Instagram is Dark Tower Palaver, all one word, no spaces. And then we're also on Blue Sky. It's at darktowerpalaver.bsky.social. And then we have Twitter. It's at Dark Tower Pod. That's at Dark Tower POD. And then we have Facebook.com/Dark Tower Palaver. And then check out our merchandise. It's tpublic.com/users/darktowerpalaver. Get yourself a hashtag Tad is Terrible sticker, shirt, pillow, phone case,
or you can get the real logo,
hat.
I also am rocking my Cautet 19 Randall Flagg shirt.
It's terrible. It makes me want to throw up.
It's real fun.
No.
Yeah, really good. Gotta love Randall Flagg.
Spider food right there.
He's a beloved character.
No.
Everyone loves him and adores him.
No.
And wants to give him a hug.
No, absolutely not. False.
Hey, as long as you follow instructions, you won't see the teeth.
No, I would see the teeth because I would not follow his instructions because he's evil.
Oh, man. All right, so let's jump on over then. The first thing, of course, I want to mention the tragedy with surrounding Rob Reiner that just happened, I don't know, a week or so ago. I forget this. I can't keep track of days anymore. Days feel like months or weeks, and weeks feel like years.
It was earlier this week. It was.
Was it? Jesus Christ!
It was only 5 days ago. Feels like
it would be like 14 days ago by now.
So Monday.
Okay. But yeah, Rob Reiner and his wife were tragically murdered. I just wanted to call it out because ultimately, of course, Rob Reiner is a kind of a titan in the Stephen King realm, while he only did 2 adaptations, which is pretty low, count for some of these folks out there. There's a couple people out there that have, half a dozen or more adaptations under their belt. But the ones he did have are, widely considered, some of the best adaptations of all time. Stand By Me and Misery, as well as, he is one of the founding members of Castle Rock Studios, which of course is named after Stephen King.
Yeah.
It's funny. I remember because I learned that in reverse. Like, I don't think I was into Stephen King stuff enough as a kid to know that Castle Rock was a Stephen King thing, but I did see that on my VHSs when I'd watch whatever things in the Castle Rock intro. And then later on in life I read shit and I was like, wait, Castle Rock? And then I ended up looking it up, and yep, indeed, they named it after Stephen King's Castle Rock.
Cool.
But yeah, I guess we don't normally do this on this show, but
Good night, sweet prince.
2 for 1. Because he is special. He was amazing.
yeah. Now there's a question for you: Stand by Me or Misery?
Misery.
Really?
Oh yeah.
That's a tough call.
Stand by Me has never like appealed to me that much. I've read it and I've watched it, and it's just I've never felt the need to go back.
Really?
No.
Oh man. Yeah, that's a tough one. I mean, I would say that, of course, that we don't abide any slander on The Mist, because, with Darabont there's a trifecta, but most people fixate on his 2 movies, his prison movies. And I would say, I think a lot of people would say, if you were ever going to try to challenge, him for like the crown for best adaptations, I think people would usually put Rob Reiner up against him for these 2 movies versus Shawshank and Green Mile.
You would have an argument. I mean, Misery won an Academy Award, unlike anything Darabont ever did. Just saying.
I know that my general thing is I don't usually talk about like box office because I don't really give a shit. But I did see that I believe The Running Man is about to wrap its theatrical run. And it actually turns out it actually made a good chunk less than the Dark Tower movie.
Did it really?
Yeah.
Oh,
but
that's sad.
Then yeah, it really is because I don't think it was necessarily like. I don't feel like it was enough Edgar Wright. I felt his style at times, but like most of his movies are just dripping in his style, and this one just didn't feel. It felt a little more sanitized, a little bit less Edgar Wrighty than most of his stuff. So I'm not going to say it was necessarily like top tier Edgar Wright by any means, but it was a much better adaptation of the source material than what we got in the 80s. But just in terms of course, box office doesn't matter, but it's like, okay, so Running Man made like around half of what Dark Tower made, maybe a little bit over a smidge.
Yeah.
But then it's also funny because then, God, what was it? Something like, I think it was like Shawshank made a fraction of even The Running Man. So of course, time has an element of that as well, whatever. But ultimately, Shawshank Redemption was a box office failure. But again, that's maybe to prove that none of that matters really. But yeah, Stand By Me, Misery, those are some great ones for sure. I still disagree with the title change, but should have been called the body. Yeah, much better title in my opinion. So yeah, that is just wanted to touch that off the top. And then let's see, I guess we can go ahead and go on over to the Palaver slide. So I just got just a kind of a bunch of stuff I want to kind of go through and hit on some stuff. I think there's going to be some of this stuff that we probably talk about longer than other things. And it just so happens that toward the end of the review conversation is Welcome to Derry, because it's come out last. So I do have a feeling that one might take up some sizable time.
It will.
But first of all, let's start with the Stephen King side of things and the books. So Never Flinch was our one release, I believe, this year.
Another Holly book.
Yeah, another Holly book. So what did you think? I mean, now we've had about half a year to kind of reflect on it and stuff.
Let it breathe a little bit.
Yeah.
I do still like the story. I still think about it, like prepping for the show and everything like that. You told me to think about the King stuff that came out this year, and I thought about Never Flinch, and I'm like, that's a good book. I don't think of it as oh gosh, that book. Ugh. No, I didn't have any ill.
It's no Tommy Knockers for you.
No, it is not Tommy Knockers. I think that is the only King thing that has ever made me go ugh.
Yeah,
but. The thing with Never Flinch is that I think someone said this when we were reviewing it or doing was it a Patreon hangout that we did it? No, we did it on just the regular show. We were talking about it either way.
Yeah.
Someone was saying it either in the chat or maybe it was you that said it. Man, there was a lot of stuff going on in that book.
Yeah.
It was almost like it should have been 2 stories.
Yeah.
But
plus, during the course of watching the development happen, we kept getting interviews with King or news releases, and he would tell us certain things. And I think because of that, and then we're closer when the book actually came out, we kind of got the full story that Tabitha didn't like it, so he ended up going back and doing some pretty heavy surgery on it.
Yeah.
And then there was some because originally it was was it Lady Gaga that the dog got kidnapped or some shit in real life, and that was the original.
That's what sparked it.
Whatever. And it's and then there was another story that he was thinking about, and then he ended up kind of shifting it after Tabitha said she didn't like it, and then another story idea that he had ended up getting implanted onto this, which I think may have been the serial killer. because I think like the
Yeah.
whole like like women's rights,
Yes.
like feminist type lady with like the whatever. I think that was probably the core of the original book.
Yeah.
And then like of course we don't really see any dog element, so that whole thing got lost in the Tabitha rewrite. And then as we jumped, obviously then we get the serial killer thing. It did kind of feel like I don't know. I feel like you could probably see the scar tissue of all the surgery that the book had. So yeah, and just I think when you actually kind of take a step back and look, I do think that it's like a little bit less smooth than a lot of King books. And I think and if we hadn't known the backstory, I think we probably would have suspected. Like, I guess what I'm saying is I don't think that it was necessarily like hearing those things caused us to look at the book more critically. I do think you would have seen some of those like surgery scars on it, and you would have been like, God, this is kind of it just doesn't feel as smooth as like Billy Summers or something, like whatever. I don't know.
It's one of those things that when you first hear about it that you're like, oh yeah, it's not like because you heard that you go and look for it. It's when you hear that you go, oh, that kind of makes sense because of X, Y, and Z. You're like, oh, ABC also points to that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and but ultimately, I will say as well, I did also like the book, but I will say that it probably was my least favorite of the Holly books. I don't know, where do you like kind of rank that? And again, I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying that if I'm ranking the Holly books,
I mean,
everything that she's in,
counting the short story.
Yeah, so we got If It Bleeds, we got the Hodges trilogy, we've got The Outsider, we've got Holly, and then this one.
And then
so
this
6
one,
or
it's
7.
probably the last. Yeah, it's probably the lowest.
And again, I don't think that, but I do kind of wonder though if it just comes down to that like I wonder if like whatever his original idea, if it had been more better executed and Tabitha had liked it, and then it had just been like that singular story, I wonder if how much different it would have been.
I wonder what would have happened if he had gone, well, Tabitha doesn't like it, but maybe they will, and just put it out, kind of thing. Maybe we'd have a second Tommy Knockers on our hands, or maybe we would be like, oh my God, this is amazing. I don't know why Tabitha doesn't like this. I must be very different. I must be very different from her.
I think she's got a pretty good finger on the pulse of things.
I mean, yeah, she's amazing. We've heard the stories about how she's helped in multiple times with different stories and everything like that. So it's not anything saying like that. It's just that different people, different, tastes and everything like that. But I think that maybe that's what you're saying is 100% true, is that going back through and trying to not appease Tabitha, but trying to do something a little bit better in his mind.
Yeah.
Left the scar tissue.
And like then if it's again, since essentially he ends up trying to merge two stories together, I think that's one thing or whatever. But I just think that overall, like, but I guess here's the thing I've been thinking about, because there is a I don't want to say a large, but there is a portion of people on the in the Stephen King internet realm that have never necessarily been the biggest fans of Holly and have pretty much been tired of her for 3 or 4 books now. And I guess what I would say is I'm trying to like analyze myself and my own feelings. I don't think this being my least favorite is necessarily me getting tired of Holly, but I do kind of wonder if she's getting close to running her course, because I just don't feel like, from my perspective, I don't feel like we saw really that much change for her in this in this last book or two. And like I did like Holly a lot, but I kind of wonder if like the
character has run its course, because basically what you have is in the Hodges trilogy, you have Holly bursting out of her cocoon and flowering into an independent woman, breaking away from her mother. Because when we met Holly, she was under her mother's thumb, and everything like that.
Yeah.
So after the Hodges trilogy, it's The Outsider was half, let's check back in on this character, half, how's she doing? Like, where's she at and everything like that.
Yeah.
And then If It Bleeds was, well, how does she handle going from Brady Hartsfield in the Mercedes trilogy to The Outsider, because that's fucking out of this world.
Yeah, I still think that's one of my bigger moments, probably in the realm of the time that we've been doing this show. I'm trying to think, like, we started in 20...
Yeah, it was in the realm. It came out in like 2016, didn't it?
When did we start the show? 15?
10 years ago.
15, so 2015. So let's see, End of Watch, Gwendy, Sleeping Beauty's The Outsider. So that's a big moment. I'm trying to think if there's any other big moments that really like blew me. No, I think that's got to be probably like one of the biggest
is.
like
Yeah.
holy shit moments for me in the
And
time.
that was that.
Of
We've
course,
told
we've
the
been doing
story.
show.
Yeah, we told the story several times. That's where you text me and you're like, dude, you have to read The Outsider right now.
Yeah.
And when you get there, let me know.
Yeah.
You'll know when you get there and everything.
Yeah.
But I think that with that, The Outsider's checking in on her after we find out Bill passes away. How's she doing? How's she coping with that? If It Bleeds is coping with The Outsider. And then even Holly a little bit is more like, okay, she's met two of those creatures now. Is she like pursuing them? Where does she go from there? Where is her stability? Okay, she's got Pete as a partner. Her life is, there's her life. Okay. But then we get to Never Flinch, and it's like, there's no reason to check back in on this character.
Yeah, it felt a little bit more static in the sense of I just don't feel like I saw as much like evolution of the character, and so like
Right,
I think
exactly.
like in that way that she probably was probably the least interesting that she's been for me.
I was more interested in like what was happening with Barbara.
Yeah, and
Like with the singer and everything like that, with her career, like what's she gonna choose and everything? Is she gonna sing, or is she gonna do the other thing? I can't remember what the other thing was. Jerome's writing, and then Barbara was something else, and I can't remember.
she had poetry.
Poetry. That's
Yeah.
what. Yeah. So it was writing. Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, and like I said, and I get it. Like everyone has different tastes, and like I said, some people I feel like have been sick of Holly pretty much probably since The Outsider or beyond. So like, but and that's not me. But I will say, I think it's a timely example too. Is I feel like I can't remember if it was the last season of Stranger Things, but like there was a line where one of like there's a newer character, and it's like, oh yeah, like oh wait, there's monsters, you're gonna save the world. Oh yeah, duh. And there was just like a line along the terms of like, yeah, like catch up, like we're used to this. And I'm like, that's the moment where I'm like, this show has run its course. It's kind of jumped the shark for me, because it's like the whole idea was like you have these normal characters, these normal kids that are thrown into this like out of this world type situation.
Yeah.
And the point where that becomes routine and they're making jokes about, well, yeah, this is just what we do.
It's
like
another day.
it just, that's the point where I'm like,
All right.
and that was a season or two ago where I'm just like, it feels like ever since then they've just been running on gas. I know there's a lot of hype around the show and people absolutely love it and stuff. And I will say I've enjoyed it too, but there's an element of they've lost what originally was about what the show was about, and there was that element of like, not fish out of water, but like, I don't know. It just in terms of like
dealing with batshit
supernatural
crazy stuff.
Supernatural crazy. Like it's the Stephen King thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like I don't think that we've ever. I mean, I guess Holly might be maybe that's a better example than I thought, because Holly might be the closest to any one that we've ever had in the Stephen King realm that actually almost is like used to being in a Stephen King thing, right? Because we've had a couple sequels, right, or whatever, but overall, like, and then the Dark Tower is in a different world, but it's like Stephen King. Stories tend to so much be about like regular everyday folks dealing with, beyond the pale things, whether it be a supernatural thing like vampires or whether it be like a storm of the century. I mean, I'm just, it could be, natural, unnatural, supernatural. It could be just absolutely normal.
Yeah.
And it's just a matter of how people react to those things. And I just don't think, other than Holly, is probably the first time that we've ever had kind of that same like, oh yeah, well, get used to it. All this shit exists. Like there's kind of a I don't know, a blasé attitude towards like the Incredible. And like I said, that was kind of like a turn off for me a little bit with Stranger Things, even though I still watch it. And I kind of think Holly is probably the closest we've ever had to that in the King realm.
The thing that with me with Holly that you just kind of bumped in my head that made me realize it is that I think one of the things that could throw a lot of people off with Holly is how we do go from very grounded with Hodges to kind of supernatural at the end with Brady Hartsfield in the third one to very supernatural with The Outsider and If It Bleeds. Kind of back down to earth with Holly a little bit. There was kind of some elements there that made it seem like it was supernatural-esque.
Yeah.
But then also then we go to Never Flinch, which was 100% grounded.
Yeah.
There was no supernatural in Never Flinch.
Yeah.
Unless I'm misremembering. I don't think there was anything there. She has trauma from the supernatural and everything with The Outsider and the guy in If It Bleeds, but I don't think there was anything like super.
No, and that was the Holly wasn't supernatural, was it? Like those people thought that it was like, preserving them or whatever, but they weren't like actually, they weren't like 300-year-old people, right? In Holly, they were just regular people that thought that they were being like revived by cannibalism?
I don't know. I don't remember that. I think they were.
That's what Agamorphy's saying. The same. I think they were more nuts than anything. I don't think there was actually anything truly supernatural. Because I remember a few times throughout the story thinking like, oh my god, are these like actually like going to be people that lived in like the 1800s? They're like kind of true nodish. And from my perspective, like I think there was the ambiguity may have been like, were they healing themselves of like certain diseases and ailments through their cannibalism? But I don't think the book ever like overtly hit us in the face of like, yes, absolutely, like they're staving off Alzheimer's by eating brains or anything. I don't necessarily remember that being a thing, but they thought that obviously. So I think that was more of them being, Agamorphy says not supernatural. That was my memory as well. So and again, it's not even necessarily like the thing or whatever. I think it's just a matter of like, again, I don't think I'm not sick of Holly. I'll read any, more Holly, which it sounds like we might have more. King did say something in an interview that made it sound like he might have another Holly story coming. But I will say that, I think she's getting close to the edge of the runway, in my opinion, just because it's getting to the realm where it's like, it's almost that kind of, oh yeah, duh, this is what we do. Like that whole vibe from Stranger Things. I feel like she's as close to that as we've ever had in the Stephen King realm, where it's like, is there anything King can throw at her that would actually like throw her through a loop? And
which is where if Holly walked through a door and saw Roland in the quartet, it wouldn't throw her.
Exactly. Like, and I wonder if that just kind of makes her a little bit less interesting than most King characters, but at this point, right? Just because she's been through so much, and
well, that's
like
the thing,
we've had
like
ones
when you get desensitized to things, all of a sudden it becomes the norm. Like you were saying with Stranger Things, it's like, okay, I feel like that was definitely one of the things that happened with Supernatural. Is it's like for the first 5 seasons of Supernatural, it was, wait, this is a thing. Wait, this is a thing. But then by season 14, 15, it's like, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. That doesn't shock me. I mean, we have X, Y, and Z over here that also happened, and ABC was even bigger than this. So,
Yeah. Let's see. And yeah, so I did enjoy Never Flinch. But I will say we do see the surgery scars from kind of like multiple refreshes, as well as like a complete like almost like conjoint twinsing.
It evolved into something else,
of another story, like taking another story, a serial killer story, and then merging it into this Holly story.
I think the serial killer story was way more interesting, honestly.
Yeah, 100%. And like that's what almost makes you wonder, like, could you like what would that have been if it had been its own thing that wasn't attached to this, and again, just my least favorite of them, not to say I disliked it by any means, but it was my least favorite of the Holly stuff.
Would you have been super bummed out if Holly had died at the end of it?
I thought she was going to, actually, and it still makes me wonder if King keeps talking about one more. I'm like, okay, at what point is he just going to kill her?
Yeah.
And I thought it was this book. Midway through the book, I'm like, he's going to fucking kill her, man.
Yeah.
I
the way that he was setting it up, man, it's like, okay, he's also, it was like, man, is he kind of setting up Barbara to be like a replacement kind of thing? Like,
yeah,
maybe we get a Barbara book, like after the death of Holly, so we get the Hodges, and Holly's the death after Hodges, and then Barbara the death after Holly.
And what's funny is like going into Never Flinch too, so it's not even necessarily just a reflection of this book, is like when we heard that this was coming and it was another Holly story, I think my first reaction, and I don't know if I ever like conveyed it on the show or not, was like, one of my hopes that I had was like, oh, I hope we get to spend more time with like, Jerome and Barbara, and specifically Ralph.
Yeah.
Like I would love to see Ralph again and hang out with him a little bit. And I think like in retrospect, like the fact that was some of my first thoughts may be kind of another indicator that even before the book came out, Holly may be close to the point of having run out of runway.
Yeah.
And maybe it's time that it's maybe better to like have a two-hander with her and Ralph, for the next book like that. I think that would be interesting. I will say that Jerome and Barbara are a little bit less interesting to me at this point.
Oh yeah.
Like I feel like it's kind of like, just because not a whole lot is happening with them in terms of like, I don't feel they've been given enough to like truly like grow leaps and bounds at this point. And so it's like, unless we're going to get that,
the only thing I can see,
they're less intriguing.
Agamorphy's the same way. Barbara and Jerome spinoff, nah. I'm the same way. The only way I could see it being any way interesting is if Jerome takes over Finders Keepers.
Yeah,
that's the only way.
Now
because then he finds out something. Holly's gone. Holly's passed away. Maybe even she's murdered, and that's what he's dealing with. Like she's there for the first third of the book, gets killed. and then Jerome and Barbara are dealing with that, that would be the only way, and then you close it, and that's the end of these characters. Like, you
Yeah.
don't see them again.
Now, I will say, I always said that if we wanted to have a Castle Rock-esque show where it's literally just Holly going through and investigating things in this King universe, I do think that good old Ralph would be a good second hand for that, two-hander.
Yeah.
Because that would literally, you'd be almost not, I wouldn't say ripping off, but you're essentially taking
The
cues from the
X-Files.
X-Files.
Yeah.
Because now the problem would be is, do you think you could actually play Ralph as like the one that stays like not believing?
No, you find a new character, honestly. Is the first episode is the pilot. Holly rolls into a town to investigate a dog that has rabies but somehow isn't dying, kind of thing, or something
Yeah.
like that. And she meets someone there. Ralph comes in one episode, maybe two,
Yeah.
as a special
As
guest.
Ben Mendelsohn.
As Ben Mendelsohn. But you don't have him as a recurring. You introduce a new character. Because
Yeah.
that would freshen things up a little bit, right?
Yeah. Yeah. But no, so yeah, and of course, I think we're at the point where we're not necessarily always guaranteed more than one book in a year. But yeah, we only had the one this year. I mean, there was a couple like oddball things that came out. We had this the End of the World as We Know It, the Stand spinoff with a bunch of different authors writing.
Yeah.
We had the Hansel and Gretel thing that was animated decades ago from an animator that's since passed away. Is pretty legendary, and they had King write the actual text to go along with those animations. That came out this year. But overall, like that was our literary King work was Never Flinch. So and then jumping on down to movies then, which is where the meat of the 2025 came in. Dating, which this feels like 2 years ago, but The Monkey started with The Monkey, and I still love this movie. I've actually was thinking about rewatching it recently because I did finally buy it. It took me a little bit of time. I don't know why, but I get like moody with my like buying new releases. Like there's times I have shit like pre-ordered like the second they come out. Welcome to Derry, I just pre-ordered the other day.
Nice.
But there's like that, and then there'll be just times I'm just getting like deluged with fucking like shipment. Then there's other times I just kind of get out of it.
You're like, I could wait on this one.
Well, no, it's not even that. There's just times I'm not paying as much attention, and then I don't pre-order it, and then suddenly it's like I don't find myself looking at movies for some reason to buy new ones, and then suddenly I'll go to look and it'll hurt my wallet because I now have to buy like 3 months worth of movies that like whatever. And yeah, The Monkey was just in one of those like down phases, so I hadn't bought it. And yeah, I think in fact I just went to a Walmart specifically to go to their movie section because they're one of the only places anymore you can actually go and see physical movies in person anymore. Damn you, Best Buy. And yeah, the right there on the front cap thing was still The Monkey there on 4K, so I grabbed it. And yeah, just recently I was thinking about I should rewatch it, dude, because that movie is fucking batshit, dude.
It was
and
insane.
I love it. And I feel like Osgood Perkins did a great job of like kind of letting us know well in advance of what to expect in that movie, because I think that he was worried that people were going to expect what was the Nick Cage movie that came before that, Longlegs.
Oh,
I think he was worried that everyone was going to think like, oh, the follow-up to Longlegs could be like that. But it's like pretty much the second The Monkey was announced, he's like, this is nothing like Longlegs. This is essentially like a black comedy and like, whatever. And like, so I feel like he really did a good job of, it's almost like reverse on our other show, we talked about like Peacemaker. A lot of people were very disappointed with the finale of season 2 of Peacemaker. And I really think all that came down to James Gunn's talking. And it's like
he hyped it up way too much.
I think Osgood did the perfect thing on the other side. He did the opposite version, where it's like he wasn't necessarily trying to like lower hype, but he was just trying to like recalibrate people's expectations. So the movie that they were going to see wasn't
what they expected.
Wasn't a complete fucking shock after they walked out of Longlegs, which is kind of a weird movie, but
Very
it wasn't The Monkey weird. The Monkey was an absolutely fucking batshit, but I loved it though. Like I mean, just the over the top fucking violence and grotesque, like whatever. The fact we saw a baby carriage on fire still fucking sticks with me. Like
the cheerleaders in the bus, dude, that one stuck with me. Agamorphy says Arthur Maurice Sendak, not Canimator. He does Where the Wild Things Are and other children's books. The one you're talking about.
Oh, is he the one that animated the stuff? Okay,
he's the animator. Yeah, not Canimator, not animator.
Maybe. So he wrote those, but
author Maurice
did he do the art on the Where the Wild Things Are? Because I thought that the art was already done for this Hansel and Gretel thing, and then they basically took this art from this guy that's been
Not an animator. Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, but I thought they took this. So did he animate his own books for Where the Wild Things Are? Did he just
Maybe.
write the? Because I don't know. I guess I'm too stuck in the comic book realm where like you have two different people. You have the writer and you have the animator.
Yeah.
You know, you have Stan Lee, but then you've got Jack Kirby, right? But maybe he did both. Because I know. Yeah, he's saying. Ag Morphy says yes. So so he would have animated that, and then they had King write the words for it. So. The monkey was also fun because you were quite I don't know, not you were not happy going to see the monkey.
I'm not happy that he's still sitting up there looking at me.
I still on occasion will go look on the web and see if somebody's making a 1-to-1 ratio of real full on like monkey,
Yeah.
because that's what I really want.
No. Just no.
I do love Osgood Perkins too. I feel like he's kind of like won himself into the realm of like anything he makes at this
Agamorphy,
point.
stop it.
Anything that he makes at this point, I'll go see. But the monkey was just absolutely fucking incredible. And honestly, I think that like, there's like hardcore, like, oh, if it's not exactly the same as the book, then it's a piece of shit. Like there's those people that always exist. Like I always kind of picture like the King realm was almost like religion.
Yeah.
And those are the zealots, right? Like
There's that with any book, any book that's adapted. You get ones that are just like, man, there are some really bad Harry Potter ones.
oh, I'm sure.
There
yeah.
are some really bad Harry Potter ones where it's like, they left this out of the... Oh, I guess I could say stuff now. Like,
Some
they
of it,
changed the way that Gary Oldman died in book 5. That is the worst thing ever.
Yeah. Gary Oldman's eternal, sir.
Yes, we know he's not dead.
But I with this one though, like when you really look at the story, man, you can't play this serious.
No.
A fucking toy monkey that is going to like cause people to die. If you try to play that as straight horror, as though it's like I am taking myself seriously and this is my premise,
Uh-huh.
it is going to be a fucking B-rate horror movie, and not on purpose. Not like Black Sheep where you're trying to make a movie that's just fucking cheesy as fuck and it's glorious for it. No, it'd be like one of those ones where you watch, sometimes you see a horror movie, you're like, dude, you do not know what movie you had here. You thought you had like the next like fill in the blank great horror movie, and you just fucking didn't.
You thought you had the next Exorcist, and you
and instead you really should have played this as more of a black comedy, because maybe it would have been something. And you get people like that a lot. And I really think that this would have been a very, very probably low. Not like low, but like low mid-level horror, like one where people are like,
it does absolutely fucking terrible in the theaters. 5 years later, people
there's
are
a
like,
cult
"Oh my god,
there's
have you seen this horror movie? It's so bad, it's so good."
Yeah, there's a cult following, and
I love when people say that too. It's so bad, it's awesome.
Yeah. It's like what is it, like pugs? They're so fucking hideous that they're cute.
No, they're just hideous. I'm sorry, I hate pugs.
Oh, they're
I've never
hilarious.
liked pugs.
They're hilarious.
I've never.
But yeah, I think that's the way the monkey would have turned out if you had tried to make a straight up, this is just a horror movie. And so I think like Osgood was clever and intelligent enough to know that, and know that like this is the way to do it. And it's like, I don't know. I mean, ultimately the other thing too is I've said for years now on the show, I can't believe that we've not had 3 different reboots of this, and this was made back in the 80s. But it's like maybe the reason it wasn't is because every time somebody tried to do it just
they try
straight
to do
up
serious, and people are like,
and
no.
they look at the script and they're like, this isn't gonna work, man.
Yeah.
Like this just
Well,
isn't
you're
gonna
saying
work.
that a children's toy could never be a symbol of death and be terrifying? Is that what you're saying?
I mean, yeah.
Hi, I'm Chucky.
And I think, but even that one, like I think,
no, it's a perfect example because it doesn't take itself seriously.
The originals did, and I think the only reason they worked is because you were through Andy's point of view. The second that you moved away from Andy or got Andy being a little bit older, that's when they really started to become like kind of like self-aware.
Agamorphy says Megan.
And like Megan was done very like comedic. There was a lot of comedy in that. It wasn't trying to take itself as like a fall. Now there were a couple
you kind of have to. It's a children's toy,
it's
a
fucking toy. Yeah, it's like if they did a fucking Furby movie with evil Furbies, which is a great premise. By the way,
I'm telling you right now, that would make bank with all the millennials. I'm like, fuck that. I'm gonna go see it.
Yeah. But ultimately, yeah, and I think that as we got to the realm where Chucky movies tended to become like a little bit more comedy, but that's when they moved away from the realm of you were following 5-year-old, 6-year-old Andy that was having to deal with a doll that was the same size as him. Like, in that realm, like that's a good horror movie, but essentially once he starts getting older, and then eventually you jump away from Andy altogether, and that's something you get to like Bride of Chucky and Seed of Chucky and all these where they're just kind of
They're kind of comedies.
They're comedies.
You know?
All the way to the point where now they have the Chucky show on USA. I think it's still going. So
I think so.
But yeah, I love the monkey.
Isn't Mark Hamill in that?
No, he was the remake. He was the reboot of Child's Play. Did they call it Child's Play? The reboot. Mark Hamill did the voice for Chucky.
Oh, did he?
And that one was actually really...
It was called Child's Play, 2019.
Okay, that one was actually really good because it completely flipped everything on its head, and it was very much an AI movie. And, like, really, Chucky himself was not evil. It was just kind of one of those things where it was like, I don't want to say it was all a misunderstanding, but it's a very interesting spin on things. So
Aubrey Plaza was in that.
yeah. Why do you think I went and saw it?
Oh, that's why you went and saw it.
Oh, man. And then any more do you want to say on the monkey before we jump on over?
No, I mean, it was fantastic. I enjoyed the hell out of it. I know that there was a couple times that Hayden went, you know, that's always fun.
Yes, indeed.
But also, it was. I think I said this outside the theater. I think it's the only movie that I can actually remember that Hayden like seriously gagged at, got scared at, and laughed at all in one movie.
Oh yeah,
he's had 2 out of the 3 in movies, like Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. He gagged and he laughed, but he didn't get scared.
Yeah.
So I think that this is the one that definitely was like
he may have cried.
He might have
with those animals dying.
Yeah,
killing all of Rocket's friends.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know, but
I
maybe
think that definitely the monkey was one that scared, sick, and laughing is when you go on that roller coaster with Hayden. It's just so much fun.
Yeah. And now and once we get through the movies here, I'll have you just rank them.
Okay.
But I will spoil it to say that the next one up is my favorite of the year, is Life of Chuck.
It's not hard to understand why. It was a brilliant movie.
I keep telling people I put this in the same vein as Shawshank, Green Mile, Stand By Me. Like this is kind of in that realm of like, I think 20 years from now, people are still watching and enjoying this movie. And it's just, I think it's a masterpiece. Of course, it didn't necessarily do gangbusters at the box office. I don't think it had to because it was an independent movie that was just widely released. But I've rewatched it twice now, and I damn near last weekend threw it on for a third time. So I just, this is just a great movie, man. So well done. It's just and I mean, I adored the book. I remember having to be, I think I was midway through part 2 before I realized what the fuck was going on the first time reading.
I still don't know if I ever understood that story.
What was that? That was If It Bleeds.
Yeah, If It Bleeds.
If when it was
because it's 3 out of the 4. No, 2 out of the 4 have been adapted.
Yes, Rat is the only one. Rat, or no, two out of the 4.
Yeah,
If It Bleeds. So If It Bleeds and the Rat have not, and then Mr. Harrigan's Phone and Life of Chuck have.
Yeah.
But Rat has just been re-signed by a new set of filmmakers,
right?
So we might be getting 3 out of 4. And I do think that the whole like weird spot we're in with Holly, where there's now been 2 film/TV versions of, or I guess they've both been TV. There've been 2 live action versions of Holly. So I feel like there's kind of in this weird spot where they're like, okay, if somebody was going to try to adapt, not The Outsider, but if they're going to try to adapt, If It Bleeds or Holly or whatever, how are they going to do it? Are they going to do a whole new actor? Is it going to be like James Bond, or we just keep getting new ones?
Yeah.
Are they going to go back and grab one of the other 2? It's just kind of I really do think that's the reason that like If It Bleeds has not been nabbed for something yet, because it's like, you're in this weird spot where it's like, how the fuck do you adapt? It's kind of like Dr. Sleep. It's like after Dr. Sleep came out, it's like, how do you adapt this?
Yeah.
Like you've got Kubrick's.
We honestly
Kubrick's,
thought it was impossible.
Yeah, 100%. And it's like you got Kubrick's thing that exists in the movie ether where you just cannot ignore that. But it's so contradictory to what King wrote in Dr. Sleep, because King based Dr. Sleep off of the end of his novel. It's like, how do you do this? And so, but yeah, no, Life of Chuck, though, I adore
Real
this.
fast, before you go into Life of Chuck too far, I just want to throw this out there for anyone.
Agamorphia, I agree. Justina Lupe, I adored her for sure.
Absolutely.
But yeah, what were you going to say?
The Monkey is on Hulu here in the States. I don't know about worldwide. I should preface that. Life of Chuck says it's not streaming anywhere.
Correct. I have some news on that in a second.
Okay. So I'm just going to kind of throw that out there with each one. Because I did get an ad yesterday that the Running Man is now available to purchase and rent.
Okay, yeah,
So,
on video on demand,
on
type
video
stuff.
on demand kind of thing.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
just throwing that out there that where these are, since we're talking about them and everything like that. Okay, go ahead with Life.
Yeah. So yeah, Life of Chuck. It's just a beautiful picture. Just a wonderful movie. I I loved every aspect of it, but the busker scene is probably just, that whole section is probably my favorite. I don't know why, because it's probably like the least story driven, but it's just a beautiful thing to see for sure. Tom Hiddleston does a great job. Yeah. What did I just call him? I just blanked on his name. Loki. Tom Hiddleston.
Yeah.
Tom Hiddleston did a great job.
Oh,
I just love that whole thing. I love like the artistic element of like the person you would never think that would do that is the one that does it. Like there's just everything about that's beautiful. I love the whole thing. I mean, Mark Hamill does an incredible job. I do love the kid in the first chapter, with the dancing and all that. Like the whole thing is just amazing.
The third
for sure.
chapter?
No, it's the first chapter. It goes in reverse.
But it's the third one that happens.
But it's chapter 1.
It's so crazy. It's so crazy.
It's 3, 2, 1. It's
so crazy.
Just like it was in the book. But yeah, I love that too, and like, but like, and then obviously like the whole end of the world thing in the first, the very beginning.
So
it's
weird.
It's just the most like fucking like unsettling shit, man. So it's just like I think it's kind of like the monkey where it's like kind of a roller coaster, because this was roller coaster too. The first one, it's like apocalyptic,
what the fuck's going on?
End of existence type, but there's a weirdness to it, and then you get to this middle one where it's just like what the fuck. But then you've got
beautiful.
Then you've got the Nick Offerman, stuff that's gives you the ominous nature of what's coming, right? It's like he doesn't know that in a couple months he'll be diagnosed with whatever, and by the end he won't be able to breathe through that excruciating pain, and whatever. So it's like you get those elements that which I think Flanagan did geniusly, because I think a lot of the stuff that was in the text that's not spoken, which is always hard to get in film, he used Offerman to kind of fill those gaps and place that stuff in. And I think that it's it's hard to do a narrator right, because it's very easy to fuck up a narrator.
Yeah.
But if you do it right, it's the perfect way to really flesh out some of King's most beautiful aspects, or deepest, darkest aspects too, right? And I will say too, I think the book, I had a hard time with the first chapter section, like the cupola and like the grandpa and stuff. Like I think that part I think my brain just didn't get around that much, because I was reeling so much from everything else that had gone on. So the movie really like solidified it for me of like kind of what was there, I guess. Because I will say it wasn't until I reread it after seeing the movie, or no, I reread it right before the movie. I think it was way more clear in my head. But the first time reading it, you're kind of reeling, because it's like it's out of order, like things are all different, whatever. But it's I don't know. This is an incredible movie for sure. I do think that Flanagan said that it's one of the ones that he's most proud of, and it's like one that I don't remember if he has children, or if it's like when they have children, this is like the one he hopes his kids remember him for and stuff like that.
Yeah,
and I can totally see it, because like ultimately, this is just incredible movie. Like I said, I think 20 years from now, I think people look back on this movie the same way we look back on like Shawshank Redemption, and which didn't do hot at the box office, but it's just one of the most beloved films. So.
It'll definitely be one that I'll point to when someone's like, "Oh, all that Stephen King is horror." It's like, check out The Life of Chuck.
Yeah,
it's I like it. Agamorphy. It's a love letter to humanity.
Yeah, and I think that like I also think you could see through like, and I think we need like the beauty of a movie like Life of Chuck, like because remember like right as the world was locking down is when Flanagan got the advanced copy of If It Bleeds.
Yeah,
and so he read that right in the midst of like we don't know what the fuck's going on, the world's shutting down, and March
is this the end?
Yeah, type thing.
There was a lot of people who were actually like that. I remember seeing that, and I'm just like,
oh, those fools! It was the year 2000's the end of the world.
Yeah,
it's not.
Yeah,
2012 or was it Aztec? Yeah, let's say like let's just kind of go through the list here.
There's been several.
Yeah, but I think that like Life of Chuck is just a very it's a very positive movie overall, like in terms of like its overall message is a very positive one, and I think that like in a more and more negative world, I think this is the kind of movie that really stands out. And I think you're also seeing that entire swing away from like pretty much since COVID. You've been seeing a swing away from kind of like the darker, more morose like filmmaking and television. Like after 9/11 there was just an element of like there was like a nihilism and like a whatever, and a lot of shit was just dark and grim and whatever else, and I think like ever since COVID, like I think Ted Lasso was one of the, and that just so happened they made that before COVID, but it
Yeah.
started coming out in 2020. So it's like, it just so happened to hit at the exact right time. But I feel like that was the turning point where like, I think everyone now is wanting stuff to be a little bit brighter.
It's honestly,
And
it
this
makes,
this
yeah.
scratches that itch.
It
This,
makes a lot of sense because like even like one of my wife's favorite TV shows from back in the day is coming back. It's getting revived because it is one of those ones where it's like hope and stuff like that. Scrubs. Scrubs is getting a revival next February. It's coming out on ABC.
yeah.
And it's just like it's one of those shows that like yes, there's hard times in a hospital, but it's also like here's the love and the people, and it's the perfect thing. It's not dark and gritty. There's still shows like that. But you're right. There is a lot of stuff coming out that is a little bit more tuned towards the positive.
Yeah. Yeah, because I think when the world's too negative, it's good to have that escapism.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, it's that pendulum, right? Like, that I've talked about. I don't know if I've ever talked about it on the show. Is that I have this wholehearted belief that in every aspect of humanity, there's a pendulum that just swings from one side to the other, and it's just a matter of where we are at that particular moment. Politics, we're over here. Okay, now it's time to swing over here. And you just look at 2 different decades. There it is. It's the same thing with this. Dark and gritty after 9/11, and now we're starting to swing back over. Are we all the way over? No. Are we going to get there? Maybe not. Maybe it loses momentum. And that's just the way I like to look at things. It's just like people always are like, gosh, things are so much darker nowadays with TV shows and movies. Like, I want uplifting, and where's my comedies? And it's like, give it a few years.
Yeah, it'll come back around.
So we'll see it come back around. I was just talking to my wife a few months ago about how there's just no like Will Ferrell type comedies anymore unless they're kid movies or adaptations of something or something like that.
Yeah,
And
there's no money in like that mid.
That's
mid-budget
one of the things
comedies
that I
and
saw
stuff
is Vince
anymore.
Vaughn's interview about that. But then we have Jack Black and Paul Rudd doing fucking Anaconda coming out this month. It's just like, it's so stupid, but it's
Yeah.
going to make a bunch of money. So, you know, hopefully it does so that they make more stupid movies.
Yeah. And I will say now, I don't know if you have anything more to say, but it was announced in the last little bit. Life of Chuck is hitting Hulu the day after Christmas.
Hey,
So,
excellent.
that will be on Hulu. Yeah, and again, I don't know how the whole international thing works, but at least in the U.S., it will be on Hulu. I do believe that. I don't know. I think Disney's a little bit better about international. But
Yeah.
I don't know. Sorry for the folks overseas. I don't know if that's true or not for you guys, but it is hitting Hulu on the 26th of December. So also, while we're in the realm of Flanagan, I do have something to throw up here. Carrie has wrapped filming.
Excellent.
So let me make this bigger so I can read it here. So he posted on Instagram. He's got a blood-soaked director's chair with a bunch of signatures on it. It says, "Our last day of filming on Carrie. This has been one of the best experiences of my career, one of my very best ensembles I've ever worked with, and already one of my favorite projects ever. Can't wait for you guys to see what we made." And that was on the 24th of October. So, because, we had 2 book clubs now. We also had the big list episode where we did the 2 lists. So we basically haven't covered the news in a bit. So I figured I could just throw this one in while we were talking about Life of Chuck. Did you have anything
Well,
else?
Flanagan, yeah.
Yeah. Did you have anything else to say on Life of Chuck?
I
wasn't trying to move away from it.
No, you're good.
Yeah.
I really did enjoy the hell out of it, and I'm really glad that we did go see it in theaters because that was hard for us to find a place to go see it. And everything.
Because it wasn't as wide a release as you normally have.
And then we
so.
ended up randomly going and seeing it on a Sunday, which is not a day that we normally hang out
No.
together. We have Fridays and Saturdays for the shows.
I guess we're doing it
and
again
stuff
this
like
weekend too.
That. And then
We're going to Avatar on Sunday.
oh, that's shit. I forgot. Thanks for reminding me. I would have forgotten. You'd have been like, dude, where are you? And I'm like, I'm at home in my boxers. Like what?
Yeah, there was just too much shenanigans going on to have it any other day for Avatar for us. So, yeah, no, and like I said, I was damn near ready to push play on it for a 3rd time last weekend. So, yeah, I have a feeling that we're going to be I don't know. Probably doing this. I'll probably be having this on my old watching, reading, playing on the other show here before too long. It's pretty great. Also, while we're in the Flanagan realm, Scarlett Johansson was cast as a detective in The Exorcist. I don't know if you saw the news that she was playing a detective.
No, I didn't see that.
So in that realm, what did you find for old Scarlett Johansson in The Dark Tower?
Scarlett Johansson.
If she joined the Flanagan family and repeated. because that's the other thing we've talked about that pretty much every time Flanagan's come up
Oh.
with something where someone's popped up, like Tom Hiddleston. We talked about it and stuff, but it's like, you know, if we were
What's her name?
talking about it,
Mia. Mia. She's
Okay.
supposed to be like lovely and perfect and everything like that. I mean, Jesus Christ. Like,
yeah,
yeah.
and a disembodied voice, and what was it, her?
Yeah.
Agamorphy says Mrs. Morgenstern. Name sounds so familiar, but I'm blanking.
Morgenstern in Dark Tower?
Yeah, I'm blanking. I was thinking about what's her name in I'm blanking on her fucking name right now, in the 7th book that helps Roland out. I know she's older, but
Irene Tassenbaum.
yeah, Tassenbaum. I was about to say. Again, if you could change the aging up to her, because obviously Scarlett Johansson is not an older woman, but I thought of her as a role potentially. But yeah, I don't know. I just thought it was kind of interesting. Of course, not everyone becomes a Flanagan family when they that's who he meant is Tassenbaum.
Oh, okay.
Okay. You know, in fact, I actually just saw a video not too long ago. It was a short clip of what's his name, the priest in Midnight Mass, the genius actor that played the priest in Midnight Mass.
Yeah.
And they were interviewing him like on a red carpet, and they're like, "Yeah, so you know, Flanagan loves to bring people back." He's like, "Oh, really?" He's like, "Have you seen me in anything else, Flanagan?" He's like, "Everybody else's phone keeps ringing."
Yeah.
But he's like, "What the hell, man?" And
I remember that.
And honestly, Flanagan, shame on you, because he was so fucking good
was
in that
so
role.
good.
How has he not been in anything else? How has he not been in House of Usher or, some of these other things? I don't know.
We will have Mike M. from Southeast Pennsylvania joining us if you want to go ahead and throw that out. There he is.
All right.
Mike, you with us?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Whoa, yes. Turn that down, Ted.
All right. Let me get the audio. All right. There we go. Can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you.
Perfect.
Awesome.
Hey, Mike, welcome.
Thank you. I gotta say, I love your show. I'm so glad you guys have been doing this all these years.
Thank
Oh,
you.
thanks.
Thank you. Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. It's been fun. Peter and I would be bullshitting one way or the other. So it's good to put some mics in front of us.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, one thing I want to bring up is after the double book clubs, it really got me thinking about Merlin's balls.
Okay.
So, as far as we know, all of them are evil in some form or fashion. Is that because Merlin was evil, or because the people who got a hold of them turned them evil?
Merlin isn't depicted as being righteous and everything like that in the line of L's stories, is it? I think there's a reference to that in somewhere where it's just like Merlin was a trickster and a magician.
Yeah,
kind of
and I
thing,
think that's
wasn't there?
I think that's King subverting things, because I think in
Yeah.
the Arthurian shit, like he's a very good and wholesome kind of
Right.
Gandalf-ish in the sense of like he's just the ultimate good. I think King is the good at that sometimes, where he'll flip it on its head. Where like, because I remember it being that Merlin was kind of not good, and I think like the fact that like Flag is a wizard and stuff as well. I think there's an element of wizardry is probably not good in that world.
Yeah. It kind of seems that way with like not only Walter but Flag and everything like that, but then also like the way that Arthur Eld's line is seen as more oppressive. They're trying to put down the people asking for democracy. So it's kind of like maybe Merlin's still sided with them, but does that make him good or not? I don't know.
So Eld is more like Stalin than
That's
than
the thing.
like a
is, like,
savior.
We've talked about that a lot, especially in the book clubs with Wizard and Glass. It's like it comes up like Farson wants democracy and the Eld don't. So it's like, wait, who's the good guy here? Like it's kind of hard for us, in the modern day, being like, wait, they're fighting against democracy, the rebellion.
I don't buy that Farson wants democracy.
The
Soviet Union had elections. That doesn't mean that they were very democratic.
That's true.
Yeah.
It could have been very rigged. Germany did that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll have a free and open election, and Hitler wins 100% of the vote.
Yeah. Yeah,
Wait.
is it? Yeah, there's a few like tin pot dictatorships
Yes,
where basically
exactly.
they run elections, quote unquote. But
Yes.
but I think
Yeah.
the other thing too, when it comes to the Wizards glass, the balls across the board, is I think in one of the book clubs I mentioned it because like I had just reread Lord of the Rings for the first time probably since high school in the last year or two, and the one thing there is like Palantirs, there's an evil, like there's a malice to them.
Yes.
So I kind of wonder if King took that to where the balls are all going to have like this like kind of
Sinister
nature that
Yeah.
they're not good, right? Like maybe they can't lie to you, but they're only going to show you what you wouldn't want to see type
Mhm.
thing. So I kind of wonder if that
Yeah.
was taken from Tolkien, but I don't know.
Lies of Admission too.
Yeah. I mean, we only ever see two of them, right? The black and the pink. That's the only two that we ever see
Yeah.
in the
Yeah.
entire Dark Tower. So,
Yeah.
I mean,
They even say that some of them were destroyed long
Yeah.
before we get to our story.
Yeah, which again, that's very Tolkien-esque because there's an
Mhm.
idea there was like a number of Palantirs, but most were destroyed. But that was one of the things that Gandalf was like, we can't use them because not all are accounted for. So who knows who's watching? Because they're like
yeah.
open-ended, so whoever's looking through whatever can see whatever. So it's like,
I know we haven't got there yet in Wizard and Glass, but there is a part where they get to the Emerald Palace and the bars have the different colors, and there's like worlds or animals inside of them in like liquid, but it looks like terrible, and it kind of freaks Eddie out. I think is who it either freaks Eddie or Jake. I can't remember which one. It kind of freaks them out, so it kind of makes me think like, yeah, all the Merlin stuff. I don't think Merlin was a good guy. I don't think so.
no, not in this story. I think, and I don't remember anything overt, but like I do know that my general thought is, King flipped Merlin from being kind of this good, bastion of goodness to kind of a more, I don't even want to say he's wicked or evil, but I don't think he's good. It's kind of that weird like Loki-esque thing where it's like trickster. I think you said it earlier. Trickster. I think that's
Yeah.
the perfect thing. Like in a sense of like there is some evil to him, but I don't think he's like overtly. I don't think he's like Sauron type thing, right? But
Conquer the world, evil. No, he's up here just like, how much mayhem can I cause?
yeah, exactly.
Well, here, let's create a ball that shows you the most evil things that are happening around you.
Yeah. You know who I'd put it on? Littlefinger. That's how I picture Merlin in the Dark
There
Tower.
you go. Okay.
Not
Yeah.
not entirely evil, but that fucker's doing some heinous
But
shit.
he
sometimes.
will stab you in the back to gain power. That's the thing. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's how I've always viewed him. I can't remember off the top of my head if there's anything like super textual about it. But yeah, I agree, Mike. I've always seen all of the glasses. Like I remember after we saw the Black 13, I remember like wondering if we'd see more as we kept going.
yeah.
But I almost didn't want to because I'm like, these have not been great either time we've run into them. Like, let's not run into more. But I wondered
Yeah,
if
it's like
we
kids
would.
finding a hand grenade. Don't
Yes.
touch that.
Yes,
I always have a question about Black 13. Like they store it in the World Trade Center, right? And they store it before.
did it cause 9/11?
Did it cause 9/11 or did 9/11 destroy
it?
and everything? So
Yeah.
I've always had that question in my head. Is like, is it because it's there that's the reason 9/11 happens?
In the King verse, like it very well could be.
Ugh.
I mean, either way, it means it was destroyed. So that's
Yeah.
probably a good thing.
The balls seem selfish though. They wouldn't put themselves in harm's way intentionally.
right.
Yeah, but I wonder, does it just like radiate, like
Also-
bad things to happen?
Also, can the Black 13 be destroyed? There's
Yeah, I thought because I mean, even in where we've been covering, there's been a whole element of like the ball could be broken with Rhea and stuff. Like
the pink one can, but Black 13 has powers beyond any of the other balls and is the most evil. Roland even says that in Wolves of the Colossus.
But here's the other thing though, is when it because I do think they'll break, but what happens when they break? What is let out?
oh,
Because remember the true knot. Or
Yes.
no, we see it in book 7 when they say when they see all the different doorways, it says, hey, if you really want to see something good, go to like September 11, 2001.
yeah, it's like check it out.
And like I think the True Knot,
Then
we
there's
find
even
out
like
they
the
went
the Ford
Theater. But I think the True Knot at one point mentioned going to 9/11. It's like,
They
so
do.
would they be feeding on whatever Black 13 was thrown
They're
out there
all,
too?
they're feeding off the human misery. Remember, that's
But-
what they
but would
feed
that-
off of. But
would
is
that
that
be
amplified
Yeah.
because of Black 13? Because Black 13 makes you feel like shit.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's,
Maybe Black 13 took away their immunity to diseases.
Oh,
Ooh, yeah.
no, Baseball Boy's the one that did that, right?
But maybe they had immunity because there's no way they never got a sick person before that. I think that's what Mike's saying is like,
In the Dark
did,
Ages.
did, did, did they have like immunity? But Black 13 may have like compromise that immunity so that when Baseball Boy gives,
Black 13 messed them up.
yeah, because like the one they said like
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's a Flanagan line, not a King line, but it's like you saw like the Roman Empire fall or whatever with Grandpa Flick. It's like,
Yeah.
hey, so that dude would have been through every fucking plague, every like thing.
The
where,
Black Death, Spanish flu, all of those.
yeah, and so like the fact,
Cholera.
Cholera,
Yellow fever,
yep.
yeah, 100%. So that's actually a good fan theory for sure. Is
I
like,
like
did,
that.
did it like compromise them?
So Jake killed the True Knot by putting it under the World Trade Center. Jake's the hero of so many stories. Look at this kid.
He's saving the day in other stories.
He's saving the day without even meaning to.
What's his reward? He gets killed again.
Three
Again.
times.
Again.
Three times. And attacked by a bumbler.
I'm just saying. I've said this. I started the Talisman. I haven't finished it on my reread. I'm telling you, Jack is just Jake. It's just Stephen King's way of torturing Jake again, without being obvious about it.
Yeah, well, they're definitely twinners.
I mean, that's what everyone says. They're twinners. They're definitely twinners. It's like, that means that Jake is going through more stuff. Like, come on.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he is the spiritual son of Roland, and Roland is one to suffer many things over and over and over.
Absolutely.
Again. Oh, too soon.
What are you reading right now, Mike? Anything?
I'm actually reading a book about the 1950 U.S. Open.
The 1950 U.S. Open. That's interesting.
Yeah.
That's-
Ben Hogan, he had a bad car accident the year before,
Mhm.
and he comes back to win this U.S. Open, which
That's
you know,
tennis,
back
right?
then rehab was walk it off.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Rub some dirt on it.
Yeah, rub some dirt on it. What are you doing?
Yeah, it really wasn't that long ago that people thought that way. Like, yeah, I don't know. Like, there's somebody at work that mentioned falling over the last weekend and thought they had a concussion. I'm like, the funny thing is like not even like 10, 15 years ago-ish, like nobody took that kind of shit serious. Like a concussion. Oh, you're
well,
fine.
Okay.
But
Yeah,
now
you start slurring your speech.
I actually
don't care.
I actually went to the doctor yesterday. I'm having a little bit of an issue with one of my feet, and I was talking to him, and he's like, "Yeah, we got to get you checked out. It might be like a stress fracture." And I'm like, "Oh, you can't walk with a broken bone in your foot." He's like, "People run marathons," and I'm like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah, they put so much strain on their feet running, training for it, that they don't realize that they've broken it, and then after they've run the marathon, they go, I'm like, hey, it hasn't gone away, even though I stopped running. Why is it like this?" They X-ray. They're like, "Yeah, you have a broken bone in your foot. It's been that way for months."
One of those little tiny bones.
Yeah, there's just a little stress fracture and everything like that. And I'm like, "So will my foot swell up if I have it?" He's like, "No, it'll swell up on the inside. You won't know it. It'll just hurt." And I'm like, "Wait, that just happens to people?" And he's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Do I have to fall? Do I have to drop something?" And he's like, "No, you can do it from walking." And I'm like, "What are we?"
Plus you're 40. So
I am 40.
you're old.
I just turned 40. So it's like, if I have my first broken bone this way, I'm going to be so pissed. I'm going to be so pissed, man.
Yeah.
It's better than being in a car accident. Take it
That's
the
true.
easy way.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's
Also,
true.
you had an active childhood. I'm surprised you haven't broken it.
I know. That's the shocking thing, is that me, my wife, and my daughter, all three of us, 0 broken bones throughout our whole lives.
Me too. And I remember like jumping off my 2-story house
Oh,
as
yeah.
a regular thing and stuff. And I'm like, yeah, I don't
You
know
know,
how I didn't break shit.
I used to jump off of my parents' house. I would get up there. I was such a stupid kid. I would get up there, and we'd have these little tiny apples. I'd roll them down the rain gutters. I thought it was the funniest thing ever to hear them down the rain gutter. And then I would just jump off the roof instead of going down the ladder, because it's only 12 feet. So what? My knees can take it.
And now
I feel it now.
as I'll say, now I get sore just thinking about jumping off of a 1-story house, let alone 2-story house.
I think I get sore thinking about jumping down like the last 2 stairs in your house, you know?
Yeah, indeed.
All right, Mike, anything else you want to talk about?
One last thing I want to get off my chest.
Shoot.
A lot of people theorized, including me, that the tower wants Roland to cry off the tower and not
Mhm.
drop Jake.
Mhm.
Which makes sense. You know, it's a redemption story about Roland. Don't drop the kid. Humanity is more important. But if Roland doesn't drop Jake, he doesn't stop the breakers. He doesn't save the Rose. So does the tower move on to the next person that needs to be saved, like some kind of weird highway to heaven, saving one person at a time? Too many cycles.
So here's the thing that I keep thinking is like going back to book 1 with the dropping of Jake, just that.
Yep.
We know that Flag has a larger plan. You telling me that Flag isn't still going to like wait around and get caught by Roland at some point? Like, he wants to put Roland through these certain paces.
Mhm.
So that whole like, you know, Batman villain, like choose one type thing. Is that real? That's the thing. Is like I've always wondered
if Roland had stopped and saved Jake, you think that
I don't.
the man in the flag would still be waiting there for him?
Maybe not waiting there, but I do think he still encounters, like, I don't know, because again, my larger theory is that Flag is more conscious of the repeat, so he's trying to get Roland, like breaking Roland of it in one way or the other. So it's like I feel like that info dump that he throws on him and shit, I feel like is probably part of his larger plan. So just the whole like this or that type thing, I've always doubted that because there's always
that info dump make Roland just even more committed to get to the tower.
I mean, but I do think earlier on Flag's whole idea is to keep him driving so that he'll die along the way, right? And he's going to set traps and stuff. And I don't know.
I've come to the mindset that Roland is damned, that this is his hell, and there is no redemption. That kind of thing. It's just like it's terrifying to think about that. That's it, because we hit something with Wizard and Glass in our last book club. Is that when Roland sees the tower inside the Wizard and Glass and he's hurled at it, there's voices and there's people inside the tower. But when Roland climbs the tower in book 7, it's empty. There's no one in it. And there's no voices. There's nothing like that. So does he actually get into the tower? We talked about this in the spoiler section.
Yeah.
And what if he never reaches the actual Dark Tower? Like penetrate the actual Dark Tower. Maybe he has to have the Horn of Eld. Maybe he has to cry off or whatever. But I'm starting to wonder, man, is he just damned to go to every level of the tower and have the same quest to get to the tower every single time, save the Rose in every universe and everything? I don't know. It's such a weird way to think about it, but I really wonder if there's
What do you think he was damned for?
What do I think he was damned for? Killing his mother.
Yeah. What did he do to get that level of punishment?
Could have been anything really, but what is it? King said that Roland was damned when he dropped Jake.
Yeah, that's what King's always said. That's where King saw.
That's where
the
he was
damnation.
damned.
Yeah, but I think that like I would also argue though that I'm not saying that King's wrong, but I would say that dropping Jake isn't a thing in the vacuum. That isn't that ultimate like moment of like choose Jesus or not Jesus. Like whatever. I don't know if there's a biblical story about a point where choosing or not, but it's like I don't know that that's the moment, but I do think that's the culmination of a lot of choices before that that made that choice very easy. And it's like if he made choices earlier, like Susan over, what at the tower or whatever else, I think that then Jake is a much different decision if he's even in that position at all.
Yeah.
So I think that is maybe the crux of his damnation, but I don't think that it's like a singular Roland is a good person on his way to heaven before that moment. Mm-hmm. I do think he'd already built himself up to that moment. And I don't know. Is
that what you're wondering, Mike? Is Roland actually deserving of being damned?
Oh, so no. Based on dropping, he chose an inanimate object that probably doesn't really need his help over saving the child in front of him. So no, he deserves to be damned. But if he can change that decision and change his fate, then does somebody else now get a chance to change their fate?
So it's just ongoing for people to change their fates.
Yeah, the tower's like, I don't really need your help. I'm just trying to help you while I solve my own problems.
The way the Wizard in Glass describes it when he's inside the pink ball is that the Dark Tower is just evil. Like it's not good.
But I don't think it's necessarily bad in its nature. I think that there's something that's corrupted it.
So that Roland is cursed then because of that, and damned curse, slash. To pick a word. And so he's that. So he gets there and he fixes the tower. Then he won't be damned anymore. But how do you fix the tower? You stop the breakers from breaking the beams. So when he stops
save the Rose,
all of that. So he does all that. So why isn't he redeemed? Because he doesn't go through the door with Susan?
Because I think
he never lets go of his fix, the tower.
Is that
even after solving all the problems, he still goes through the door?
So if that's the case, then the real answer then, Mike, is that Roland is damned for choosing to be obsessed with the tower. So he gets damned in book 4. I mean, I guess he gets damned in Magus when he's inside the pink glass because he swears on everything. We covered this literally the last book club. I read it.
Yeah.
That when he swears that he's going to the tower, when he swears that over everything else, by everything else, I will reach the Dark Tower. That is when he's damned then. Because if that's what is the crime, is choosing the tower over everything else, then that would have to be the moment that he's damned.
I think like to an extent, but I think there's an element of like, I don't know. I know that like maybe they have a different culture than us, but like swearing, like especially to a 14-year-old kid swearing something, like I don't know if that really means that like you're good to just like massacre or let die everyone around you.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't know. Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying though, is that because he
that's
swore,
a crux. He swore to go to the tower, but even
Right.
if he didn't swear, he would have done it.
But
So
if-
then the question is, if he never looks in the ball, saves Susan, is he saved despite trying to save Susan?
well, if he saves Susan, he's not a gunslinger anymore. He said that in book 4, which I missed every other time that I've read that, and we covered that a few book clubs ago. That he's like in the bad grass with her at the hut and everything. He's like, I'm picturing a life with her, like not in Gilead. Like we're gonna go find a farm and we're gonna settle down. And it's gonna be us raising kids. That's gonna be my life.
Yeah.
And I miss that every other time. I'm like, holy shit, Roland was like ready to just like, peace,
Yeah.
I'm out. What Anakin should have done.
Yeah.
You
But
know?
But that's probably the right choice because
Yeah.
Gilead falls regardless of him.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's kind of like would be my point.
But
is like,
again,
is throughout the entire thing, because even like the Jake moment, right? Like, so
Yeah.
let's just take King at his word and say that's the moment of true damnation. Okay, so it's his quest for the tower or this fucking boy that depends on him entirely. Like, this is a boy from another world. This is a child. Probably the only thing more helpless would be a child half his age, but still, this is the most helpless fucking creature, and you're gonna let this thing die to keep going for your fucking mission, like, and it just goes throughout.
there's so
right?
many there's so many people that have died for Roland's mission.
Yeah, 100%. But like,
so
yeah, but
I mean, as bad as it is with Jake, I don't think it's any worse than any of the others that he's killed. I mean, he massacred the entire fucking town of Tull for his tower.
yeah,
So, you know, like there's that and everything. So I just think that with Roland choosing early, like earlier than we've all always said, like, oh, it's Jake. That's when he chose his damn name. I think he chose it. I think you kind of opened my eyes here, Mike. He chose it when he swore to go to the tower, which is when he's in the pink glass, and that's in book 4. That's when he's in Magus. That's when he damns himself. Because I think that it even says that it's like, then you're damned, and it hurls him at the tower. And then the only reason he doesn't crash headfirst into the tower is because that's when the land punches him awake.
but even then, like, for it to tell him that then you're damned, like, that's could be a wake up call of like,
Yeah.
hey, don't be a fucking Boy Scout about this fucking this pledge, right? And again, I know it's a different world. I know their culture probably thinks way higher of that than whatever. But it's like any of us, even in our world, which is much different, could swear an absolute fucking
Yeah.
thing. But it's like if that then comes to a point where you got to kill a fucking 12-year-old child to like fulfill your this promise you made, I'm almost certain that none of us are gonna pursue that promise, whatever it is, no matter how serious it is,
Yeah.
to kill a child. So I guess
Yeah.
that's what I'm getting at. Is
I mean, he is definitely built different than all of us.
No,
that's the thing.
I know, but I think that's part of the damnation, though, is it's like because you are so fixated on that fucking promise you made at 14,
Mm-hmm.
you have allowed all of these people to die, and like the crux of which was a fucking child that
Yeah,
depended on you.
it's still so crazy because I'm half playing devil's advocate, half agreeing with you, because at the end of the day, Mike brought it up earlier, is that he still has to save the Rose. He still has to stop the breakers.
Yeah.
If he doesn't do that, the tower falls, and all of existence is thrown into the prim.
Yeah.
So it's like, wait, so
Susanna is the key.
Agamorph, yes, was the loss of Susanna avoidable?
Susan.
Susan, sorry.
I don't know if he could have stopped that. I'm not sure. It is the timing of it all. If he bolts straight to the town, I'm just not sure if the timing works out, for it's just that ultimate tragic king thing where he gets there just in time to see it and maybe massacre everyone after. Maybe it's
They
just
just could have left. Don't fight anyone. Just straight up roll.
He's talking about when they're at the
Well,
hut
get
and the bad
your followers, get
Yeah.
them, make a wall of gunslingers, and meet every Jonas on the road.
Yeah. Yeah, and I guess my thing is that maybe I just don't trust King. That I'm like, even if Roland at that
No.
moment was like, was able to like fully understand, like, I need to go save Susan and dropped everything for her.
Yeah.
The way King is, I swear he would roll up just in time to see her fucking screaming in pain, being burned alive.
Oh, most likely.
And then he would have just slaughtered everyone in that fucking
Absolutely.
city.
That's
So,
what.
that's how King works. So to Agamorphy's question, I don't think it was avoidable. I think Susan was going to die
once Roland left her, she was
Yes,
going to die.
100%. Yeah, that's the
'Cause
point.
that's what Mike's saying is like, what if he at that moment in the bad grass he just goes, "Yep, you know what, I'm out."
That's the only point he had to save her ultimately.
Yeah.
Is to pick her in that moment over the mission.
The mission,
So
which would have left Elan and Cuthbert to do the mission alone, and they would have died.
Which-
So then he's damned for doing that, right?
Which is the theme that keeps happening, though, is it's like
damned if you do, damned if
well,
you
no,
don't.
he has a choice of picking someone or his mission, and he always picks the mission. And I think that's his ultimate damnation.
But I mean, at
He's
the end
gonna
of the day,
const- he's
at
gonna-
the end of the day, you're saying the mission like it's a bad thing. We're talking about the slaughter of thousands, if not tens of thousands of people under the hand of Farson and the
anyway.
good men. They do die anyway, but he doesn't know that. I mean, hindsight's 20/20 for all of us. Gilead
Yeah.
falls, so oh, we shouldn't have fought anyway. Gilead fell. I mean, tell that to everyone who's ever fought a war on the losing side. No, it was worth fighting for, right? I mean, that's the thing. Is like we can't blame Roland for fighting the good fight. He's supposed to. He's a gunslinger. That's what
Yeah.
he's bred for.
And that's what I'm saying. I guess if and that's the other thing too, is we all keep assuming that this whole breaker thing was ever going to succeed.
Yeah.
You know, like there's a lot that is telling Roland that, but
I mean,
sh-
they've
sh-
broken every
sh-
other beam except for one.
But
so
I'm just saying, who's to say the tower doesn't have its own defenses?
well, I think that maybe that's what it is. That's what Roland is. Roland is that defense, and that's what I was kind of getting at earlier. Is
But
that
then it comes to Susanna
he just
Door.
has
Then
to go-
that's his check. That's
he
the
just
point.
has to he just has to go to every level of the tower and stop the breakers in every level to stop the tower from falling, and he's just
I
damned
thought
to
there
do
were
that
infinite
forever.
levels, though.
Huh?
Wasn't there infinite levels?
Yeah, exactly, and that's why it's just cycle after cycle for him. Every time he's just cycling through every single level of the tower, saving them from the breakers. That's
Oh,
it.
that sounds horrible.
The
only thing I'll
that's the
disagree with you is
damnation,
that-
right?
Well, the only thing I'll disagree with you is the story about your main character being damned is uninteresting if there's no chance of redemption.
makes you wonder.
Which is why I think that him having the horn in that final bit is the show that there is hope of redemption
Yeah.
there. Because I do think the tower there, because ultimately we know where the loop is set. I mean, especially longtime listeners. I feel like the one thing I got to check myself out of is like not repeating things, because it's like if someone just started listening in the last year, they may not have heard some of the stuff that I feel like I've said a million times.
Yeah.
But it's like, you know, we look at it like the bubble blowing thing, right? You
Yep.
got a big circle, but you got a line, and it's like, hey, there's a point that the circle starts, and it's that moment in the desert. It's like, so everything before that is outside of the loop. There's no changing any of that. So yeah, it's
But then the horn
but
is
the horn
outside of
is
that loop.
outside of that, and it comes in. So it's like that. I believe that's truly like,
Yeah.
you know, Gan's divine intervention
That's
to
where-
basically say like, hey,
Yeah.
you made a lot of progress in this thing. You still did it wrong. But like I truly, and this is like in the last couple times of reading it, but I truly think that Roland's almost like move toward redemption is the moment when he chooses that he's going to die over Jake. But then it's Stephen King and the body breakage that stop that from happening. But
But why does that happen? That's the thing, is like, if that's his redemption and everything like that, and he has to choose someone over the tower, he did. He chose Jake over the tower. I'm going to throw myself in front of this car, and I'm going to save King.
well, it's one thing to say, but
And
you
everything.
got to actually do it.
He tried.
No, I
it's
know,
not like
but-
it's not like he chose not to. It's not like he didn't. He got to the end and just went, you know what? Maybe I won't. You know, and everything like that. So I think that there's an unfair thing with Roland where everyone's like, well, he never redeemed himself. He never redeemed himself. He never went through the door with Susanna, but he tried to do it with Jake. And I mean, it's just like when you look at like Gan is God kind of fill-in kind of thing. They understand the heart of the person. And so that's where I just wonder, like, maybe Mike said something earlier that kind of made me think about it. The Dark Tower chose someone. What if they chose Roland as its defender? And it's a sucky position. It sucks as all hell that he just has to keep doing this over and over again because it keeps happening over and over again in different levels of the tower. But the tower's got to protect itself, and if Roland's the best person for the job, have him do it. And that's that. It's not anything that Roland did wrong. It's not anything that Roland is damned for. Maybe it's just the tower, being a piece of shit that it is because it's corrupted, has Roland to defend it. Because the tower defends itself. Well, what's its number one defender? It's Roland. Roland's the one defending the tower, isn't he? From the breakers and everything?
I mean, maybe.
Yeah, that's like
Yeah, I mean, I would say maybe because, like, I guess I don't know. I think there's a lot of things we take toward the tail end of the story at face value, and
Yeah.
I'm not sure that we should take all of it at face value. We don't know how much of it is actually true.
No, we
And
don't.
that's what I'm getting at
Yeah.
is like, you know, even like the realm of like, well, Roland has to get up at least to Algociento, otherwise the tower falls. It's like, do we really know that though? I know we're told that, but it's like, is that true? King is very good at playing with like unreliable things, you
I
know, when
mean-
it comes not necessarily full on narrator, but like unreliable.
Well, let's dissect that a little bit. Who is the one that says that the tower's safe? Who says that the beams can regenerate? Who's the one that says that?
Shimi.
And who Shimi is talking to know this information? Where does the beams?
Yeah.
The tower. So again, is the tower deceptively saying, "Hey, here we go. We're safe. Roland, go ahead. Come to me. Great, you're here.
Okay.
Bam, next level."
Okay, so should he let the tower fall then? If the tower is that bad, is it worth saving?
I mean, it's the same thing as saying like Gilead, right? Tens of thousands. We're talking infinite number of people on all levels of the tower.
If that's even true.
being cast into the prim. You're saying that might not be true because the tower lies? But is the tower only lying because it's corrupted, or is the tower actually just defending itself because it's trying to?
Or is it
Stay
so infinite and large that like everything that they like that we accept as their understanding of it, the fact that it's the linchpin of the entire existence, like who's to say any of that's true? You know,
I mean-
who's to say like the tower falling would actually mean the end of everything? Like I know we're told that,
Yeah.
but again, there's a lot of lies in this story, man. Like
Sure.
so,
Sure.
you know, and again, so maybe Roland's just massacring or letting die all these fucking important people on a lie.
Killing them themselves in some.
and again, killing him himself in some cases. Yeah.
I mean,
So, since-
he didn't
so
shoot.
to come back around,
Yeah.
Merlin's in the top of the tower.
Yeah, that's where Merlin ended up. Is he's at the top of the tower, just going,
Maybe Merlin is the tower.
"Oh."
Well,
We hope that Stephen King
I'll
lives
stop
long
here. I'll
enough.
say thank you for taking my call. Keep
Yeah.
up the great work. I love the show.
Thank you. Thank
Thanks,
you.
Mike.
Appreciate it.
Bye.
Mike.
All right. Got to make sure I mute the right thing and not you. All right. Okay. I can still hear you. All right.
You can mute me. It's okay.
Oh, I know.
You don't need me, right?
I know. Have you ever noticed that your mute button's bright green?
Is it?
You look.
It wouldn't surprise me if it was. You got it like highlighted with like glow in the dark ink and
It's-
everything.
Yeah, it's got like
the
lighted,
arrows pointing
lighted
towards
arrows,
it
yeah.
like it's a Riddler trophy.
Yeah, pretty much. Agamorph says we hope that Stephen King lives long enough to make the ending, this ending happen. And there's always been part of me that's like, does he tell Flanagan?
Oof.
I want Flanagan to
Let
give us
Flanagan
the
do
actual
it.
ending, but I imagine if there's a alternate ending, like a post-credit scene type thing. I don't know. I don't know how you do that exactly, but I do think the watcher should get the same experience as the rest of us. So.
Yeah.
All right. So then as we're moving on here, we can go a little bit brisker. So I want a little bit of a look ahead as well, but we got The Long Walk and The Running Man.
Yeah.
So The Long Walk, I've already said it on the show. Absolute, probably the biggest surprise for me of the year. I expected Life of Chuck to be a fucking banger just because it's Mike Flanagan and I love that story and it just felt like peanut butter and jelly. It just felt perfect together.
Yeah.
The Long Walk, I expected to kind of be a mid, if not low mid type movie. I just didn't expect a lot out of it. I expected it to just be kind of your average, you know, meh King adaptation, and honestly, it blew me away. It was an incredible fucking adaptation.
It was.
So
And it was one of those ones that it didn't hold back. It jabbed right away with that first kill.
oh yeah,
because
they communicated to you right at that moment where it's like, hey,
this is
we're-
what we're gonna
yeah,
be.
we're not cutting away. We're not
Yep.
playing it easy here.
Watch.
Yeah, exactly. This isn't an early 2000s PG-13 horror movie.
Exactly.
This is going to be fucking unflinchingly whatever. And yeah, I adore The Long Walk. I think, yeah, I haven't ranked mine yet, but I really did love this movie a lot. I'd highly recommend it to everyone.
It was fantastic. I really do. Agamorphy says I got to see Running Man, miss Long Walk. We'll have to stream.
yeah, and I don't know about The
Absolutely.
Long Walk streaming.
It's not.
Long Walk, when is it
Oh,
coming
when is it
to
coming?
streaming? I wonder if there's any information on that. It's already available to purchase. Around late 2025, early 2026. This is just speculation from the stupid Google AI, which is not very smart. So yeah, so it's already out on. So yeah, I would guess either late this year, if not early into next year, it would be, and that kind of makes sense. yeah. But yeah, The Long Walk I really enjoyed. The Running Man, I think we talked a little bit more about these ones than we did some of those earlier ones. So we don't have to go as long on these, but like I really enjoyed The Long Walk. I did like The Running Man. I thought it was a better adaptation, but like I said, I was just a little bit bummed because I feel like there was a bit of Edgar Wright missing. Like when you watch an Edgar Wright movie, you could just taste it. It's just fucking on every goddamn frame, just feels different, and it feels whatever. And it felt like less of that. And I know that, like, I'm not saying I needed like a full on Hot Fuzz style for Running Man, because those don't jive.
Right.
But it's like, I don't know. Last Night in Soho was a much different movie, but it still felt very Edgar Wrighty. So I don't know what it is. I don't know if like the studio meddled a little bit.
You need to rewatch
like,
it so you can put your finger on it.
No, and I just remember like even midway through the movie being like, this just doesn't feel as Edgar Wrighty, and there was ever so often you'd see like real shines of him come through, but it wasn't like a consistent, like I said, like I feel like you watch like Baby Driver, it's like, you know, I don't know why I picture it as a script, but it's like, I just feel like every single script is just fucking soaking in Edgar Wright, like just his mystique, right?
Edgar Wrightness.
Yeah, and this just didn't have that as much. But again, I do think it's infinitely more true to the novel, and appreciated that quite a bit. I think it's definitely one that I can't wait to add these other two to my collection, Long Walk and Running Man. I don't have either of them yet. I guess Running Man's not out yet on physical. I think Long Walk's got to be close because came out in right around Halloween for streaming, from what my Google search just said. So I have to imagine the disc is already out. But I can't wait to add both those into my collection and give them some further watches for sure. Let's see.
Long Walk looks like it's available.
Yeah, I assume it would be because
November 25th.
Yeah, as I'll say, October 31st. That's usually it's like less than a month from that you get the
Why
disc
is there
release.
a tank on the cover of the DVD? That's interesting.
I don't know. Is Mark Hamill on the tank?
No, he's on the truck behind him.
Let's see. And Agamorph says everybody seems to like the Michael Cena scene, but I thought it was unnecessary.
Michael Cera. Yeah, I know. Yeah,
Michael Cera. What?
He's the guy that helps him. He ends up in his like with his mom.
Oh, I didn't even recognize him.
Yeah, that's Michael
I
Cera.
didn't.
Yeah.
I liked that because that was straight from the book, man. Like that fucking dude.
Yeah.
I mean, of course they took it down quite a bit because in the book, like
Jesus Christ.
that's a big character in the book.
Running Man doesn't come out until March 3rd on disc.
Yeah, that seems about right. I mean, it hasn't been out that long. It came out in late November. In theaters, like the fact that it's on video.
It came out early November, didn't it? Like the 11th. It wasn't late. It wasn't around Thanksgiving. It was before.
Or no, it was originally Thanksgiving. Then they moved it forward a bit. But still, either way, though, the fact it's video on demand right now is fucking insane.
Yeah,
it's like less than a month, pretty much. It's wild.
Running Man pre-order 4K. They have a 4K version already available.
Agamorph says Chuck will be my first must buy of the year of this year's flicks. Yeah, and like I actually double dipped on that one too.
You did?
Because like whatever the studio is, Neon, their tradition is they will not give you a digital code with their discs. So I was like, all right, well then I'll just buy the digital today when it was available, and I'm like, then I can wait a month or whatever it is until the disc, because I don't want to wait until then to watch it again. So I double dipped. It was the one that, God, something just in the last little bit. It was a fucking I forget what it was. There was another one that I was really hoping was one that would not have a digital code, so I could double dip, and it wasn't, and I'm still fucking like chomping at the bit to actually like watch it again. I'm forgetting what fucking movie it was now, but there was one where I ended up looking at the studio and I went and looked at one of their previous releases and it had the digital copy. I'm like, fuck, because then I can't justify it as much to like drop fucking $20-$30 on a digital and then $20-$30 on a goddamn disc that has a damn digital in it. So
well, you could. And then I just get the second digital. That's what's happened before. So, you know.
Yeah, I don't remember what it was. But yeah, it's something that's probably come out now or coming close to coming out. So anything else you want to say? I know, like I said, we already talked about The Long Walk and The Running Man quite a bit.
Yeah, and recently too. So
yeah.
I did enjoy both of these films. I think I enjoyed the Long Walk just a little bit more. But The Running Man was hilarious, and also I think that it had good twists, and I love the ending. I love what they did with the ending. I really do.
Yeah. Yeah, me too.
I think they did it right.
Yeah, apparently there's a alternate ending on the disc.
Ooh,
that's what I don't know if the digital. That's the thing about digital ones is it's like when they have those special features like that. Like some digital ones, like I remember Doctor Sleep, like when it came out on streaming, you're able to flip between the two versions and stuff. But that's pretty rare. Usually, like if there's like two versions of a movie, there's one on streaming. That's why I'm still a physical.
I actually
media person.
have two versions of a movie. I don't remember what it is on my Vudu Fandango at home now. That's it's The Exorcist. You gave it to me. You gave me the code because you bought The Exorcist Collector's Edition or something like that, and it came with it. I have a theatrical version and a director's cut.
So you know what's funny about
it's listed as two.
You know what's funny
movies.
about The Exorcist? I bought the I can't remember if it was the 4K or if it was the Blu-ray, some in the last couple of years, and it was the extended cut, which is the superior cut in my opinion. And I downloaded it on Vudu, but the Vudu gave me the theatrical version. And I ended up having to reach out to them and be like, I bought this version, even the freaking code sheet thing says extended version. It ended up getting to the point where they actually had to reach out to the fucking studio and confirm whatever. And then eventually they fixed it. And it actually, like, now I've got the director's cut type thing, but it's like, yeah, legit. I probably still have the email somewhere where that they ended up having to like, well, we're sorry, but we'll have to reach out to the studio and confirm because like whatever. I'm like, but I had like pictures. I'm like, here's the picture of the code thing. See here it says the version you've never seen before, whatever the fuck the tagline is. I'm like, this means it's the director's cut, and I showed like the run times and shit. I'm like, the one on my fucking library that you guys gave me is the wrong goddamn one. But yeah, it ended up getting to the point where they literally reached out to fucking Warner Brothers and basically like had to get it confirmed and then eventually fixed it for me. So
that's crazy.
Pretty wild. All right, and then moving over to TV, I will say we're probably gonna have to hit Welcome to Derry a little bit quick, just because we've gone long here.
No.
Long and
fuck 2026. We can talk about that next year. We're talking Welcome to Derry, Tad.
Well, we got some stuff.
The rest of the time, just talk about Welcome to Derry. Institute was fine. Welcome to Derry. Go.
I still haven't finished the Institute.
It's fine. It's fine. Talk about Welcome to Derry. You are not shorting me on this, you son of a bitch.
Well, I think we're going to short ourselves on anyway because I feel like we could probably spend it like at least an hour or more on Welcome to Derry.
Chad, you cannot short me on this.
Because we still got March Insanity to talk about.
I will never forgive you. I will never forgive you, Tad, if you short me on Welcome to Derry. I've been waiting to talk about this with you.
We've got like 20 more minutes of the episode is all. So I feel like that's shorting. I feel like that's shorting us because I feel like a full Welcome to Derry conversation's 40 minutes to an hour. I bet you. Yeah. Oh.
You're going to make me wait until next year to talk about Welcome to Derry.
Maybe that's the first episode of next year as we throw that out as a talking point. But yeah, and it looks like Agamorphosis hasn't watched it yet. Which, I guess I'll just say is fucking watch it. It is so goddamn good, in my opinion. Yeah, again, because I don't want to short it because I think it's good enough that I really want to have a conversation. And to sit here and say we have fucking 20 minutes left of the episode, I think that would be shorting it no matter what we did. So,
Tad, I relent. I'll never forgive you, but I'll relent.
But Agamorphy, watch it. Watch it. It is so damn good.
Oh my God, it's good.
Don't listen to the fucking people online, dude. I don't know what these people are fucking smoking.
Are there people hating it online?
Yeah, they have.
I don't see that
almost
shit,
the entire time. People have been shitting on it for various things.
Get out. Go away.
Now, one aside about this, Muschietti was interviewed recently and said that he still intends to do a 6.5 hour It cut. With It Chapter 1 and Chapter 2 edited together with some deleted scenes to tie it all together, including allegedly a Maturin scene that allegedly exists.
What?
But
just hook it to my veins.
But he did say that right now they're very busy with this show.
Obviously.
And doesn't really have time to do it now, but he says it's very much still something. Because there was rumors a year or so ago, because I didn't think it was even tied to Welcome to Derry. There was rumors that they were going to be screening the 6 hour, like, they just did it for the Kill Bill recently and stuff.
Yeah.
There was a rumor a year or so back that I think we even covered it, that there was a possibility that he'd be, they'd be doing that in theaters as a limited thing. And then it never came. And then right around the time that Welcome to Derry's coming, there's like, maybe they'll do it now. And the fact it hasn't come, there's been some doubt of like, is this even a thing? And so at least we got some talk that, and
Agamorphy says, I have been avoiding all chatter. Good.
Yeah, I loved it. So then one of the recap, we've got the March Insanity, which is almost a year ago now, our 5th annual March Insanity. And it started, and we started a second bracket. So we are now doing a 2 two March Insanity
Two
brackets.
bracket system.
The Dark Tower and then the non-Dark Tower side. On the
Yep.
Dark Tower side, we had favorite spoken line, which turned out to be Long Days and Pleasant Nights.
Indeed.
And
You
now,
have twice the number.
I'm
Oh,
not,
oh, wait.
and here's the thing. Some of these, like, I kind of picked winners, and like this is one I would have favored, but I don't think I could have picked it as a clear, like, oh, that's gonna win,
Yeah.
right? Like, well, I didn't even the original one because I was like Rhea, and I was like, she's gonna win. Then I looked over at Cordelia and went, oh God,
Ooh.
that could go either way. So there's some of these though where I'm like, I think there's one obvious choice, but
That is one of the things that definitely happened in 2025. Just to recap, not necessarily the King stuff, but our stuff. Man, going through the book club, we just realized how big of a piece of shit Cordelia is.
yeah, 100%. Like for instance, though, the 2023 and 2024 best Dark Tower moment. There was a big part of me. It's like if Traveler's Rest doesn't win, I will
Right.
be fucking stunned.
Yeah.
And then worst Dark Tower moment, the winner, Charyu Tree. I was like, if that doesn't win, I am going to be stunned.
I could
Whereas,
see a
like-
couple other moments being up there with Charyu Tree. I mean, you have the death of Eddie, Jake, and Oi. So, like,
Oi attacking Jake.
you stop, you son of a bitch. You're just the worst. But I'm just waiting for when we do, it's interesting. We had most beloved character last year, right?
No.
Or was that 2 years ago?
That was 2022.
That was Jesus. That was 3 years ago.
So we did
Lord.
we did 2019 most hated character. Then we fell off for a couple years. Then we decided in 2022 to bring it back and make it an annual thing. So
Yeah.
2019, 2022, 23, 24, 25. And we're
Gotcha.
going to keep it consistent here. But we did it the one time and it almost just felt like a one-time thing. And then like a few years later, we're like, what the fuck did we stop doing that for?
That was fun.
So,
Let's do it again.
yeah, most beloved was 2022. So, and then on the Stephen King side, we did most hated character, and this one was full of fucking surprises, man. This one, there was a lot of goddamn surprises in this poll.
Patrick Hockstead.
And then Patrick to pull out-
hitter.
Pulling out the win is just startling to me. And it wasn't just him. Every fucking round, there was a one where it's like, oh, this will go a certain way, and it went the other fucking way.
And it wasn't, and a lot of times it wasn't close.
No.
It's like, wait, what?
So yeah, that one was a little bit froggy. So now moving over to the 2026 side of things, it is kind of tough because on the book and movie side, there's really nothing confirmed, which makes me think that on the movie side, there's a chance that if there's any movies that are like pushing to film or whatever, that if they can get filmed quickly and maybe get out toward the end of the year, but there's a good chance we might not have any King movies next year.
That's a bummer.
At least theatrically. I mean, I don't know
We
what
did just come off a year with 4 movies and 2 TV shows. So
Yeah, so I don't know, but on the book side, there is a possibility of Talisman 3 as well as the a new Holly book that King has teased.
Yep.
So the one that
I'm almost convinced that Talisman 3 is coming. In
me too.
2026.
I'm going to be shocked if we don't. But the problem is books are like TV shows though, where they don't necessarily always announce them like a year in advance, like movies. So like we don't ultimately know, but we might know. I would guess if we don't know within the first quarter of next year, it's probably not coming next year. Because I feel like by the end of first quarter, even if it's like coming out in like November-ish, which is sometimes
We got to know about it so that they can
do publicity and stuff. So, but I have a suspicion that Talisman 3 will be there. Another Holly book is a dark horse, but a possibility. And then movies. Let me also, just as an aside here, there's no real good place to stick this in, but since we're talking about movies, there's a news article from Deadline. The headline was a little bit nebulous, didn't really give us a whole lot here, but it popped up in my thing. I'm like, what the fuck do I give a shit about Giancarlo Esposito doing a fucking comic book? Like, apparently he's like working with a comic book artist. They're going to basically be doing a graphic novel with the idea of adapting it as a film pretty much shortly
straight away,
after with
yeah.
him on it. And I'm like, I mean, cool. I love Giancarlo. Like, I'll always
Yeah.
love him and stuff, but whatever. I'm like, why is this on my goddamn news feed? So this is in Deadline, December 5th. And as I'm reading it, it's talking about working on a graphic novel, which he hopes to adapt into a film. But then after that, Deadline buried the lead here. They go on to reveal that he's close to closing a deal with and teaming with Guy Busick, with whom he worked with Abigail. It was in that the vampire ballerina.
Yeah.
That was the dude behind that. To adapt the Stephen King novella The Dreamers.
I don't know that one.
So, and then my next note here for those that don't have an encyclopedic memory of King novellas and short stories, this one was in You Like It Darker. and it was a Lovecraftian cosmic horror story about a Vietnam veteran taking a job with a scientist who was exploring the nature of dreams,
Right.
but ends up discovering a darker truth beyond the pale of the dreams.
Yes. Okay.
So Giancarlo's playing the doctor, right?
Has to. Yeah.
I mean, he could play the vet in theory, the Vietnam veteran, but like,
Yeah.
I want to see Giancarlo playing a fucking scientist that's tearing the fabric of fucking reality into
Yeah.
Lovecraftian horror realm.
Absolutely.
And there's just not enough Lovecraftian horror shit in film, so
No.
like, give me any of it. And like, I remember actually really loving that one. Of course, it's easy because there's like, I feel like you like a darker. It was like a solar system, and there was a Jupiter called Danny Coughlin's Bad Dream.
Yes.
And it's easy to lose sight of everything else in that
Yes.
fucking collection, but there were some fucking bangers in that thing, and this is actually one of my other favorites, so that's pretty exciting. The deal's not closed yet, but it sounds like, and Giancarlo's the one that mentioned it, said he's close to closing the deal, so that is quite titillating to me.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah, so again, not to say that's coming out in 26, because it sounds like the whole deal on it's not even closed yet, but let's see. And then Agamorph says it's a revival light, but better than nothing. Yeah. I still have a slight hope that one day we'll get a revival as a TV adaptation.
Mm-hmm.
Because like, tell me that like Netflix or Apple or someone that, you know, in some cases has dropped hundreds of millions of dollars to make like Martin Scorsese movies or whatever the fuck else. You telling me that they won't have enough money to do a TV series, you know, a mini series to cover revival?
Yeah.
Like, I think every other time that's been tried that people are trying to make a theatrical movie out of revival.
Yeah.
And I think that's impossible. I don't know that that's possible to make a movie out of it. But you telling me that we can't make a 4 or 5 episode miniseries that covers revival? So we'll see if it happens. But that's a wonder for me. But over on the TV side, though, almost definitely we're getting Carrie, which we covered earlier, wrapped filming in October. Also, The Institute was announced that it has a second season. You could speak more to it than me because you've actually finished the show.
Yeah.
Because MGM Plus is a piece of shit app that lost my place. So now I've got to figure out where the fuck I left off, which I got to do here in my time off before the new year because I need to get that so I can cancel that goddamn thing. I've been billed a few times now because it's their fault, damn it. I think I got through episode 2. When did they introduce the little tiny kid? It's the end of an episode.
Oh, jeez, I don't remember.
I think that's the last thing I saw. So, and then Welcome to Derry hasn't been greenlit yet, but it's been fucking gangbusters when it comes to viewership. So there's no fucking way that HBO doesn't renew for the planned 2 other seasons. They may not greenlight both of them right away, but I'm almost certain. And HBO is usually pretty good about yearly releases generally. So I would venture to say that Welcome to Derry season 2 is probably going to get greenlit here in the next little bit. If it's probably already greenlit behind the scenes is my suspicion, because the problem with Hollywood is you get like Thanksgiving, New Year's, Hanukkah, Christmas, all this shit that happens. So they basically don't work for almost 2 months.
Mm-hmm.
So come January when they all get back to the office, you watch, there's going to be a green light. It'll get announced. There'll be a deadline, all this shit. And I wonder if they'll be, hey, it was greenlit already. Muschetti's already working on, season 2 as we speak. So who knows? But Agamorph says Institute 2 season 2 worries me because they will go beyond the novel, and I assume the first season finished the novel, right?
Nope.
Oh, they didn't. Interesting. All right.
If I remember right, and take it with a grain of salt, I read that book twice in
You're an old man now.
2017 when it came out, or something. 2019 when it came out.
Twice in a couple months.
Yeah. It did not finish where the novel did, because
And then 2 more things when it comes to TV, but this isn't new necessarily, but should be interesting to see how this works out. But there are 2 Hulu shows that have been signed to Netflix. 11/22/63 is hitting Netflix fairly soon, and Castle Rock. And I have a suspicion, because Netflix is just such a fucking big ass thing. I feel like if shit gets on Netflix and it hits bigger than anywhere else. So I just have a wonder if suddenly those are both going to be rediscovered by a lot of people, and you're going to start seeing them go viral and shit. So kind of interesting if folks are if folks are haven't seen those, maybe they don't have Hulu or whatever, and they have Netflix. 11/22/63 and Castle Rock should be available for you to view before too long. So
nice.
I would recommend both.
I've never seen the second season of Castle Rock.
Yeah, you should give that a whirl. It's pretty good. 11/22/63. It's nowhere near as good as the book. Easy to say because that's one of the best books of all time. But I still think it's a serviceable adaptation.
Baraki
So
says I'm starting to watch Under the Dome again on Paramount Plus.
you're a glutton for punishment there.
Man,
I'm actually thinking about rereading Under the Dome
it needs to be reread.
I've never listened to it. I only ever read that fucking goddamn brick of a book. And the hardcover one too, which is like a lethal weapon. I could have fucking killed someone with that damn thing.
Yep.
So I would like to get the audiobook and give it a whirl, because I do think that show is maybe tarnished the book itself.
Yeah.
Because I remember loving that book a lot. So I mean, if you know, and Baraki, if you liked the show, good on you. But I was not able to hang with it.
I
So.
couldn't get through the first season.
I don't remember how far I got.
I think
or
I got
not,
like 3
so.
episodes in, and I was like, no.
All right, so a couple more things here. So we've got first of all, I did go through and confirm Charyu Tree
Oh yeah,
with
yeah.
the book clubs will be Wizard and Glass book club number 37, which is March 28th. There's no book club in January. Oh wait, no, there is a book club in January. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, because we usually don't, but this year it's technically would have been a 3-month episode.
Yeah.
So let's see, 2026 roundtable. Yeah, the Wizard and Glass is on the 31st, and then February, and then and I even bolded it on my calendar. So,
Oh, there you go.
and not just that, but it starts on like subchapter 23, which is the very first subchapter of that episode. Is the opening line of that subchapter is Susan didn't know what was going on until she saw the redhead standing.
Oh.
That's literally the first fucking subchapter we're covering in that
Oh,
episode.
but that means the
whole thing.
No, that means the episode before that is going to leave off on one of the worst cliffhangers in King history. Wait,
No,
no,
not even close. But yeah, I did go and confirm, and yeah, so I was like, not only that, but I was like, it's not even to be one of those ones where it like sneaks up on us and it hits us midway through the episode. No, it's
Nope.
literally going to start the fucking episode, and that is also one of those fucking annoying ass ones, because it's actually going to finish us through part 3, and we're actually going to go a couple subchapters into the part 4, because it doesn't end
Yeah,
proper. Like, it doesn't give us enough to cover for a full episode.
sure.
But yes, that is indeed confirmed. When Charyu Tree will be hitting us is the 3 episodes, 3 book clubs from now will
Oof,
be
that one hurts.
Charyu Tree. So that's
I
gonna
can feel it now. Future Peter's in pain.
Yoda. Oh man. Barack says I didn't get through season 1 actually, but at the time I think my expectations were super high, and I had recently reread it. And Mike says keep us posted on it. Yeah, indeed, because maybe it deserves a relook. I don't know. We'll see. But so yeah, that's Charyu Tree, and then we do have our. I guess we can do a. Because one tradition we have on these year-end bashes is we are announcing the March Insanity topics for 2026.
Yep.
Which means that starting today, you have until
January 31st.
No. Yes. So
The last episode in January.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, the end of January, because I like to have all of February to kind of work things out. So you basically have the a little over a month right now to send your nominations. And please send them every way you can. Don't worry if you see other people nominating the ones that you want to nominate, because the number of nominations will make the difference sometimes between ones that make the 16 for the bracket or not.
Tad counts all. So if you
I weigh it. So if I get one that gets mentioned 20 times, that's getting on the fucking bracket.
That's a 20 timer.
versus one that gets mentioned once and everybody else goes, "Oh, I would have said that too," but that person already said it. That one may not make the bracket.
Right.
So please send them all that kind of stuff. But you have basically the rest of this month and then all of January to send your nominations in. Send them in through email, on social media. Throw them in the comments for our future videos as we move into the year. I guess you could even throw them in here if Peter can keep track. I know you're.
I've done it before.
Yeah. So let me see. All right. So we've got we got the 2 brackets, of course. So I'll just throw the King one out first, because I think we've already pretty much revealed that we were going to hit the very first 2 that we did for Dark Tower, but we're going to do it for here.
Yep.
We did the Yin and Yang. We did the most hated character in Stephen King books, non-Dark Tower. And so we said we're not going to follow everything that through the Dark Tower polls, but it feels like there's kind of a yin and yang. There's kind of a 1 and 2, and you got to do both. So we are now doing the most beloved non-Dark Tower Stephen King character, which is a very interesting.
There's a lot.
There's a lot of fucking
There's
characters.
a lot. Just like there's most hated. There's a lot.
There's a lot, yeah.
Okay, I'm ready.
So send your nominations in. You have until January 31st. Once that day, or at the end of that day, starting on February 1st, there will be no more nominations taken. And I basically use the month of February to build the bracket, and then I've got to then reveal the bracket, which sucks, but I think we're gonna have to reveal the bracket on the book club for February because I want to make sure the bracket is revealed well in advance, and then the voting starts on March 1st, and then we go through our normal cadence. So where's our February 20? Well, okay, never mind. The round table is on the 14th, so that gives me 2 weeks to build the brackets. So as long as you get them, so February 1st to the 14th, I will spend that 2 weeks building the brackets, and then we will reveal them on the book club for February. Voting starts on March 1st.
Rocky makes a question: what if a character appears in Dark Tower, but they also appear in non-Dark Tower? They are excluded. They are Dark Tower characters.
Yeah, I would say if they're primarily Dark Tower characters, then they're Dark Tower
Father Callahan
characters.
is a Dark Tower character.
No, because he started in...
He shows up in 3 books in the Dark Tower and 1 book outside of it. That is a Dark Tower character. Fuck off.
I thought we'd just make it a rule of, like, where do they appear first? Because, like, I'm trying to think, who else do we have? Like, Ted Brodigan, who else? Freaking Everything's Eventual. There's a few characters that show up in the Dark Tower series from other books, but
Yes.
I'm not sure if quantity should
Callahan is absolutely...
was Callahan allowed in our Dark Tower side?
Yes, he was.
Okay.
He's a member of the fucking quartet.
Okay. And
Like, how can you exclude him from a Dark Tower one and put him in the Salem's Lot one? Or you could just do both. That's the thing. He might just be the one that transitions both, but anyone else is off limits.
I was going to say, I don't think there's anyone else that shows up in the Dark Tower series from another book that would count as a Dark Tower character in my mind, right? Like Ted Brodigan, like he counts for Hearts in Atlantis. What the fuck is the kid's name from Everything's Eventual? He's the kind of the shitty,
I do not
powerful
remember his
kid.
name.
I'm blanking on his
I
fucking
don't
name.
remember that story hardly at all. So that's why we're revisiting.
Because Bobby
it.
Garfield is Hearts in Atlantis.
Yes.
But then Dinky Earnshaw. Thank you, Agamorphy. Dinky Earnshaw.
Oh, he said it earlier. Sorry, Agamorphy. That's what you were saying.
Oh God, I didn't see that either. Sorry. So like Dinky, I would say counts for his, or like where they show up. But I will say the one exception will be Father Callahan then, just because he is so much heavier.
I like Baraki says, let's say if they are in the quartet, they are out.
Yes, indeed.
So,
So
no Father Callahan.
That's probably fair. That's probably fair. But of course, Randall Flagg showed up in the stand first, so we can of course nominate him.
He's more in in Dark Tower though.
No, we can count page counts. I guarantee he's in the stand more. Plus, Eyes of the Dragon. I haven't even read it, but I'm pretty sure if I compare that and
That's
the stand,
true.
I don't think Dark Tower has a chance. So, thank you, Brocky. Randall Flagg, hero of the story.
No.
Thank you.
Not of any story. He's fucking lunch in one of the stories.
Oh, let's see. All right, so all of the teasing aside, then let's go ahead and give a drum roll for the Dark Tower one. Because, like I said, this one is actually a full-on reveal.
We haven't talked about this one.
Haven't done this one. So let me do another drum roll.
I was early.
Sorry if it's a little bit on the negative side, but most tragic Dark Tower character.
Ooh.
There are a lot of options.
Are we supposed to be seeing slides with these?
No, I don't
Okay.
have a slide.
I
Sorry.
thought you were moving
Oh,
something.
the only thing that I do have those, I guess I could flip over and show the big board. I did throw the Dreamers on there on the screen, so our big board of adaptations. I also did finally move things around because I had a bunch of things I had deleted that I hadn't moved shit around. But it's kind of weird because the movie one, dude, none of those feel that real to me. Those all feel like ones that have been in the work for so long, and I don't even know if they're still in development
the
or not.
girl who loves Tom Gordon is.
Yeah, but I don't know like when or anything because I thought about it. I was like, oh, should I like try to reorganize these for ones that might come out in 2026? And as I looked over the list, I'm like, oh my God, there's like nothing that might come out in 2026. So
I just looked at the movies one and I saw Tommy Knockers, and inside my head I went,
oh man. But yeah, so most tragic Dark Tower character. And so like that could be, there's multifacets to that. It could be an element of like their their destiny. It could be the things that happen to them. It could be the sadness that like there's any number of ways you can parse tragic. But I do think that there are probably easily 16 characters that we can fill in the Dark Tower series. They could fill in the tragic realm.
Awesome that we can't put Flag on that list.
Oh, that's tragic, sir.
No, he's not a Dark Tower character. You just said he goes on the most beloved non-Dark Tower character. You can't have it both ways, Tad.
For Flag, we can.
No, you cannot.
Yes, we can.
No, it's pick one. Which one?
No, he was on our Dark Tower.
Exactly. So
most
he
beloved.
can't be on the other one then.
Oh, he can.
No.
Oh, he can. Flag transcends rules, Mike says. Exactly.
I'm not allowing this.
Let's see, most tragic. Yeah, I think you could even get into the realm where you could throw in fucking Mordred in there. There's elements of Mordred that are pretty fucking so I really think this is this one, like, we have a number of things on our list here. I think our whole goodie bag of unused ideas. Let's see, I think I counted it earlier.
I've got like 6 or 7 on mine.
I've got 20 in my list.
Yeah.
So we've got enough to last us a good long time. But yes, this one is quite exciting to me because I do think this one can make for a lot of good discussion, and I think the votes on this are going to be a lot of fun. And I honestly don't know off the top of my head, like, oh yeah, 100%. I think it's going to come down to these two characters or whatever. I think this could go a lot of ways, right? Because it really comes down to like, how are the voters going to actually view tragedy and how are they going to weigh tragedy and stuff. So
got our first nomination in the chat.
Oh yeah, I missed it.
This may be not obvious, but for most tragic Dark Tower character, Sheb McCurdy.
Okay.
Sheb the piano player.
Okay. There's a number of them, man. I mean, even through the course of the story that we've been reading for the last however long we've been doing this book club now. But yeah, we've been doing the Wizarding Glass for a long time now, and even that, there's a number of characters in this story. I feel like freaking Olive Thorin, for God's sake. How are you telling me that she's not tragic? Susan, of course. I mean, there's some topics I thought of over time, and I've tried to put on the list, but as I thought, I'm like, you can't fill up 16 for that. And this one, I'm like, oh my God, yeah. Not only that, but I think it's a good one.
I think this is the one that we expand out to 64.
No,
go full March Madness.
No, I don't think so,
style.
sir. No, there's enough work with a 16 bracket.
Tad over here just cutting the legs out from under us, guys. When we want to have fun, Tad's just over here just like, nah.
But yeah, that is it. So yeah, that'll put us in a spot where when we come back in January, we will discuss some Welcome to Derry, which is good because that might actually give me some time. I might actually rewatch it. Because I can't imagine actually going through and just binging it too. Because like waiting week to week is kind of fun or whatever to an extent, but also binging can be really nice too. So like,
because you're fresh, you just watch the episode.
Yeah. So I might end up binging it maybe the weekend before we do the episode, so it's really fresh in my mind. So we'll do that in January, and then of course we're always crossing our fingers for a Flanagan adaptation announcement in 2026. That'd be nice.
Hey, I'll tell you right now, Ted. If there's an announcement in between now and when we record next, maybe we have an emergency episode.
My hair will be all messy and shit.
Your hair? Get the fuck out of here.
We'll come on the episode. I'll have curlers in my hair.
For anyone who's listening on the audio podcast and never, ever looked us up at all, Tad is bald. Like, shaves his head bald. Like I could take my finger and go across the top of his head bald.
I actually did just get shaved last
you
night.
Did. He goes to a barber twice a week, this guy.
Yeah.
For a clean shaved look. And I'm not going to lie. Looks good. You look good. But stop making the hair comments. You have no hair.
Oh, I do.
No, you don't.
I do. Yeah. I will say it's...
Yeah, what hair? Agamorphy's with me on this one.
I will say...
On this one, we could agree, Agamorphy.
I will say I wear a beanie when it gets cold here.
Oh, yeah.
And right after I'm freshly shaven, there's like no like tack, like there's no scruffiness, like so you get a little bit of like prickles, and that's enough to like give you some like grip for your beanie. But right after I get shaved, dude, like it'll just slip off my head.
Will it really?
Oh yeah, it's just because it's just like I've got no traction. Damn it.
I've never shaved my head that far. I've buzzed my head, but I've never done the whole Mr. Clean. Mr. Clean. That's what it looks like.
Lex Luthor.
The Lex Luthor, yeah.
Yeah. So
makes sense. Tad, Lex Luthor, both same haircut. Okay.
He's a good man, that Lex Luthor.
No. No.
Attacked viciously by an evil dog.
They're saying Agamorphy says try some Velcro, Ted.
Yeah, just staple some Velcro on.
Just do the Indiana Jones, staple it to your head.
Yeah, I've thought about maybe I just need to think of a different hat style that doesn't need the grip of my
Yeah.
my peach fuzz. But yeah, that'll do it for the episode. And that'll do it for 2025. We're
going into 2026.
We've just been talking about 26, but yeah,
I get it.
2025. It's been a good year.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the calendar here. We started on Roundtable 159. We're ending on 170. We started at book club number 22, and we ended on 34. So, and then next year, of course, I guess I also mentioned I mentioned Charlie Tree, but I also didn't mention we are starting Wolves of the Kala next year.
Yes.
That's exciting. It's sometimes it takes a couple years for us to get through a book and get to a new one. So
This is the longest so far.
26 is it's the longest so far, and 26 will be the first year and a bit that we are starting a brand new book, and it's Peter's favorite. So
It is my favorite.
there's a lot
Coming out of your favorite into my favorite.
Yeah, and a lot of people love this book too. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Thank you all for joining us all throughout 2025.
Mike says, "Bring on the lightsabers and snitches."
Oh, indeed, and
Hey,
Doctor
you
Doom.
understand snitches now from Harry
And
Potter.
Doctor Doom. There's a lot more people that will understand
Yeah.
Doctor Doom next year as well than they do right now. So, yeah, let's see. But yeah, so thank you all for joining us. You guys are awesome. Love having you part of it, whether you're here in the YouTube side, watching us in the future on YouTube as as a replay, or whether you're here with us live. Everyone listening on the podcast side, we love you all. Thank you all for being part of it, of everything. Have a happy and safe holiday across the entire board. You got Christmas, Hanukkah, New Year's. You got all kinds of shit. Have a happy and safe one. Yeah.
Eat lots of food.
Eat lots of food. Have a good turkey.
That is the thy commandment from thy Tad and Peter. Thus unto you we say, devour thy food.
And drink some eggnog.
Ugh.
I love eggnog.
Put a little root beer in it, then I'll drink it.
No, it's bourbon, sir.
Oh,
Bourbon in there. But yeah, and then we will see you. Remember, we are also coming back in January on the 17th. So there's a little bit of a break.
Little under a month from today.
Yeah, a little bit. And then we'll be back for Roundtables at 171, and then we'll be back with Wizard and Glass book club number 35. And it'll be
37 is what I need to watch out for.
Yes.
I think I'm going to be sick that day.
It's gonna
I'm
be.
sorry, I'm busy. I'm washing my hair.
It might be the most emotional thing that we've had to cover up to
Dude,
this point.
I don't know.
Not to say it's not the most emotional that we're going to ever cover, because there's some
No,
other shit coming
no.
down the way here.
Oh my god, and I'm going to be even older when we get to it.
All right, guys. We'll sign off as we always do by saying long days and pleasant nights.
Long days and pleasant nights, folks. Happy holidays.
Oi.
All right, everyone in the chat, thank you all for joining us. You guys are awesome.
Yeah,
and,
you guys are the best.
yeah.
Thanks for being here, especially you, Agamorphe, Baraki, Mike, all of you guys. You guys are awesome.
yeah, indeed. And we'll be back. I can't even say in a fortnight. But in about
2 fortnights.
something like that.
End of day.
4 weeks?
End of day.
What?
Isn't that when we're back?
The 17th?
Isn't that 4 weeks from tomorrow?
Is it 4 weeks? I don't know.
1, 2, 3, 4. No, it's 5. Damn it.
So it's not quite. All right.
2 fortnights in a week.
All right. See you guys.
Bye, everyone.